All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Sports Network. It is your boy Lewis, and I'm back once again with another heavy hitter live stream with yet another video on the Sports Network. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you guys share this stream. Make sure to catch the replay. If you guys like to, man, any donations, you could right there donate on the Cash App as it's showing on the ticker. And like I said, we are talking about the 2004 Pistons and the 2008 Celtics. And the reason that I wanted to do this video was because, and shout out to King G, he basically was talking about, he had told me in the last live stream that I did that he was pretty much tired of the '08 Celtics talking like they had won, like they were a dynasty. And I was basically saying that, with the 2008 Celtics, you would think that they won 3 championships in 4 years, or won 4 championships in 5, or at least won 2 championships in 3 years, or won 6 championships in 8 years, or 5 and 7, whatever the case may be. Have them thinking that they were a dynasty, but they only won 1 championship in the 5 years that the core was together. And I'm talking about Kendrick Perkins, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen. And it's really not Ray Allen that's talking. I would even put Big Baby Davis on there. It's really more so KD, Paul Pierce, Kendrick Perkins, for that matter. Like those 3 more in particular. And the reason I got this picture of Kobe Bryant with Rip Hamilton is you don't hear the 2004 Pistons thinking about, them beating the Lakers. And it's funny because the Celtics and the 2004 Pistons both beat Laker teams that both Kobe Bryant was on. The only difference was that the 04 Pistons went up against Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Shaq, and Kobe, the quote-unquote Fab Four super team that, failed miserably, compared to the 2008 Lakers that had D-Fish. Well, D-Fish was on the bench. At this point, D-Fish was a starter, for the 08 Celtics, whereas he was he was relegated to the bench in 04. So once again, guys, make sure you guys again smash that like. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe. And we're talking about 04 Pistons and the 08 Celtics. Like it's ridiculous, man. And as I said right here, so again, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. This is gonna be a good one, man. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. So shout out to Layla, who says smash the like and hit that subscribe as you guys come in, of course. Shout out to Low Key T in the building. I bet LeBron James isn't practicing his free throws right now. I'm leaving LeBron out of this, man. But hey, man, I bet he's really not practicing his free throws, low key. Who knows, man? Who knows? And by the way, if y'all haven't subscribed, make sure y'all go subscribe to Low Key T. The brother, again, always produces great content. And, he was talking about, Pop Smoke earlier. And I was, on his live stream in the chat. So if you guys haven't, make sure you guys subscribe to Low KT, because why? He presents the super facts. Yo, I like when you do that, son. I like it when you do that in your intros and the videos. Super facts. It's dope. Shout out to Raduni in the building, who says, hi, guys. Hi, guys. Yeah, so, man, we talking 2004 Pistons. Like I said, this is a team that I have a lot of respect for, even though they only won 1 championship during the Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, and Big Ben Wallace in their era. So I got a lot of respect for that. Whereas these guys continue to talk like there was some dynasty, man, and it really wasn't that, man. That Piston was a complete team. Yeah, they were. Low-key was like, yeah, you should have called in. I didn't get the chance to because I was busy today. So, I was doing stuff. So that's why I didn't get to call in. But definitely next time when you're doing one, and like I said, I have the opportunity to call in, I definitely will, low-key. So I definitely will call in. So just obviously let me know. And then he comes back and says the LS saying, gang, you appreciate that. Welcome to my Lewis Sports Network, gang. You already know what it is, man. Coming back at you with another one. So I got to say this, man. These Celtics out here, especially with Kendrick Perkins, I know when they do their little get-togethers, and Paul Pierce, who happens to be the golden boy for ESPN when it comes to talking nonsense, where he's talked about he's a better shooter than Klay Thompson, and he was a better player than Dwayne Wade in their primes. Kevin Garnett was on the Bill Simmons podcast talking about how much he broke LeBron, how much him and the Celtics, they broke LeBron. And I said, listen, man, I know I'll be getting on LeBron James and all that, but it's like you guys was definitely smoking crack when you were talking about how y'all broke him so much that he joined Miami. I was like, maybe it sounds like that in theory, but it's like, what have you guys accomplished since y'all beat Kobe in the playoffs and the finals? Y'all haven't won anything since then, after that time. Yeah, you got to the finals. Don't get me wrong, but, it hasn't happened. Nothing has really happened ever since then at that point. So that's what I find ridiculous. So again, guys, smash the like, hit the subscribe. Lewis Sports Network talking about the 04 Pistons and the 08 Celtics. This is why I got a lot of respect for this team. These guys right here. These guys were a complete team, as Raduni was saying. They played great defense. They beat a Lakers team that was in turmoil, that many people, including Laker fans, felt that they should have beat Detroit in that series. They felt like that was an upset, that Detroit beat them in 5 games. And Detroit, they just played very well together. They played like a well-oiled machine. They played really good team basketball. They played really good team defense. People don't understand that the Pistons are an all-time great defense, the 2004 Detroit Pistons. And if you look at it here, if you look at on the left, you got the 89 Pistons, another team, one of the great defenses of all time. The team that won 63 games. This Detroit Pistons team in 2004 that you see, they won 54 games. And they peaked at the right time after they traded for Rasheed Wallace. Because if y'all remember, Rasheed Wallace was traded from Portland to the Atlanta Hawks. And then after being with the Atlanta Hawks, I believe it was for 1 game, he got traded back. He got traded to Detroit. And those guys were coached by the Hall of Famer, the great Larry Brown. Shout out to Chance Smoke in the building, man. It's passing through to smash that like, of course, man. Appreciate Chance Smoke. Shout out to Chance Smoke in the building. And he says Larry Brown was a damn good coach, too. Yes, he was. He was a damn good coach. He was a damn good coach. And I will listen. The defense of the Boston Celtics was also, it was great. It was a great defense also because they won 66 games. So that is a great team. Now, here's the problem. So Raduni, you possibly might make a point. I will say that the KG injury in 2009 might have derailed those plans because they did go back to the finals the next year. They upset the Cavaliers in the second round because Cleveland had the best record in the league that year. And if people remember, the Cavaliers went to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Orlando Magic with young Dwight Howard, they had won 59 games. They beat the Celtics in the 7-game series. They beat them in Boston in Game 7. KG did miss the playoffs in 2009. And I felt KG was really never the same player after that injury. KG was, 32, turning 33, I believe? So I think that was huge because it really hurt and really pumped the brakes on for them possibly being the dynasty. So I do agree. But the problem is that what I'm trying to tell y'all is that even if those guys did, and then you have to look at the 2010 NBA Finals where Kendrick Perkins ends up getting injured with his ACL tear, I think in Game 6. I'm going to say this, Amanda, because remember, he got injured during the game. There have been fans who have been acting like if he got injured like before Game 6 and it was like the Lakers were blowing out. They were in a must-win situation. They were trailing 3-2, so they had to win. And Kendrick Perkins tears his ACL. And remember, people forget that Game 7, the Celtics had a 13-point lead. So even if you want to say that Kendrick Perkins, he wasn't there, the Celtics blew the lead. The Lakers weren't shooting the ball great, neither was Boston, but they had a 13-point lead. So in other words, they were pumping, beating the blocks off the Lakers for most of that game, man. And the Lakers just through sheer will, end up beating the Boston Celtics and winning the championship in 7 games. And Doc Rivers was coming out and saying, had it not been for that Perkins injury, we probably would have won. And I said, well, I would understand that if you were in a close game from the beginning to the end, but you guys had a 13-point lead. That was more so you guys choking than anything. So let's be very clear about that. I'm not saying that the Perkins injury was not big, guys, but what I am telling you is that they still were able to get a double-digit lead with Rashid, with Rondo. They were playing pretty good defense. That's why I said in one sense you really can't kind of really use that excuse. And now it's like you've been, and that's why I said like with the Pistons, they just talk about, how the team came together and how they were able to upset the Lakers. Can people in the comment section tell me how the Pistons were able to beat the Lakers in the 2004 NBA Finals? And also, can you tell me how the 2008 Celtics were able to beat the 2008 Los Angeles Lakers? Because if you look at the 04 and you look at the 08 Lakers, they were two different teams. Two obviously very different teams. And look, the common denominator is Kobe and the Lakers. You had a very complete Detroit Pistons team, beat 4 future Hall of Famers in the Lakers in 04 with Gary Payton, Karl Malone. Those two were pretty much at the end of their careers. Shaq was starting to decline and he was starting to leave his prime. Shaq was 32 at the time, but he was not in great shape in that 2003-2004 season. This was Kobe at age 25? So he was turning 26 over the summer. Again, guys, smash the like, hit the subscribe. So that's why I believe that, and then pretty much ended they pretty much ended what was the Laker years, the Kobe, Shaq, Phil era. So they kind of put an end to that. But like I said, man, the 2008 Celtics, listen, they won 66 games. They were a dominant team in the regular season. But they also make it seem like if they had a dominant postseason. But people forget that in that 2008 postseason, they went 16-10. Do they also forget that they went up against an Atlanta Hawks team in 7 games that they beat, where they didn't win a road game against them? And let's face it, they went to 7 games with them in the first round. A team that they had won the division by 29 games. I should say they won the conference by 29 games. The Atlanta Hawks didn't even win 40 games that year. They were 37-45. So the Celtics had 29 more wins than they did. And it's funny because the year before that, before they acquired KG and Ray Allen to help Paul Pierce, don't forget additions like Sam Cassell, Scott Pollard, James Posey, Tony Allen, Leon Poe, P.J. Brown. Before that, Eddie House. Before that, people forget that the Boston Celtics, the year before that, only won 24 games. And this was Rondo's rookie year, the previous year, but this was his second season. And this was his first playing with, KG, Ray, and Paul. So, and then in the second round, they go up against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that only won, 45 games? Only 45 games, guys. So even with that, they had a 21-win advantage. And that same Cavaliers team, guys, the Boston Celtics averaged 100 points per game in the regular season, which was good, which was in the top 10. I believe they were 7th or 8th that year. But the Cavs held them to 84 points per game. And that was despite LeBron not shooting the ball well in that series. They went to 7 games, and the Cavaliers almost pulled off a Game 7 win on the road with LeBron scoring, what, 45 points? And he shot okay. He shot okay. He shot decent from the field. I think he shot 46 or 47%. Not bad for a Game 7, considering that he didn't have a second star with him. The Cavaliers had a good team, but these bums and these trash players that people keep talking about, that's not true. They weren't trash. They weren't bums. What they were offensively challenged, and it was the LeBron system as well. And they didn't have a second star, but by no means were they trash. You can't be a top defensive team just about every single time from 2006 to 2010, and you are deemed trash. That's just ridiculous. Those are the narratives once again, man. All right, so looking into the comments real quick. Raduni says the Pistons were an elite defense and also fluid offense with 3 clutch players. Yep. People don't understand. It's funny because the 08 Celtics and the 2004 Pistons, they were both man-to-man defensive teams. They were both man-to-man defensive teams. Whereas in today's era, we play a lot of zone. Even though the zone defense was much more implemented at the start of the 2002 season with the illegal 3-second rule, defensive 3-second, but that was because of Shaq. Because of Shaq, they changed the rules because of not being able to be in the lane for so long. And Layla says all facts. Keep smashing and like, of course. And I subscribe. And Lakers only had Kobe as a clutch player. That's why the strategy was to lock down on Kobe. And Raduni makes a good point because it really wasn't much sort of dominant. It really wasn't more so dominant. So this is why I keep telling myself, man, that as great as they are, and let me just continue, and it's true because Kobe was really their only player who could create their own shot. Shaq was not a person who created his own shot. If you understand Shaq, Shaq was a post player. So you could dump the ball in the post. It's not that Shaq didn't have skills. You have to understand the position he plays center. He plays back to the basket. So Layla says, so sad how narratives become reality at times, just like with LBJ. It seems to all start with him. Yep. So like as we continue, guys, this is why, again, I keep saying that the 04 Pistons are always going to get my respect. They just went out and played. But yeah, these dudes right here, this championship team right here, it's funny how I don't hear Sam Cassell, I don't hear PJ Brown, I don't hear James Posey, I don't hear Leon Poe, I don't hear none of the role players talking. Probably with the exception of Big Baby Davis. Okay, Kendrick Perkins talking, Paul Pierce talking, Kevin Garnett talking, all of these guys. But they went to 7 games, and then in the Eastern Conference Finals, they went up against the Detroit Pistons. I think that team won 59 games. So that was really the only real competition in terms of record. But it was like to lesser teams, they went 7 games, and they almost lost to the Cavaliers more so than they did with Atlanta. And these were 2 teams that neither one of them had won 50 games, but gave the Celtics a run for their money in both series. The Pistons pushed them to 6 games, but it was not the same Detroit team. Chauncey Billups was on that team, so was Rip Hamilton, but they were not the same team. Rasheed Wallace was on that team, but they were not the same team anymore. There was no Ben Wallace. There was no Larry Brown. This was a team coached by Flip Saunders. They had become a zone defense, and they were more of an offensive team as compared to a defensive team. That was the difference in their teams. That was the difference. Now look what Rip Hamilton is doing right there on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Look what he's doing. If you watch Kobe get into post position right here with the basketball, he's trying to lean back because, as Michael Jordan told him, in terms of advice, you feel the defense with your legs. Well, Rip Hamilton is a few feet apart from him, and look where his hand is placed on Kobe's back, which tells you that they were still using hand checking even during the 2004 NBA Finals. As you can see, Rip Hamilton right there in the thumbnail, right on the background, right where you see the nice little NBA logo right there, aka Jerry West. You look where his hand is, look at the positioning of his hand. As Raduni says, LeBron got too many puppets in the media. I told you LeBron is the puppet master. LeBron is the puppet master of the media. Nike is his puppet master. So it's like while the media answers to LeBron, LeBron answers to Nike. This is why I say it's a chain of command. LeBron is like kind of like the GM. So where he is the GM, he has to answer to the head, which is Nike Corporation, Nike Corporation. Yo, so getting back on this talk with the old Celtics. I'm going to play a clip for you, ladies and gentlemen, and just take a listen. Just take a listen. And more so, even KG said the 2010 Celtics, you know how they said they had broke LeBron. This is how much they talk right here. So take a listen.
2012, the famous season that's remembered in this movie. Derrick Rose gets hurt. Philly Boston all of a sudden seems like, oh, gets out of this. Miami, who knows what it is. Suns get through Philly. 2-2 at Miami.
And the league knew that they had an agenda in which we weren't part of the agenda. Understand? Right. And that's how they ended up winning that series. Yeah, I said.
Do you think you pushed LeBron too far in Game 5? Just Game 6, he's
So this is where I gotta stop you there. If you guys can't hear it, let me turn it up a bit. Hold on.
He was trying to consolidate because he didn't want the pressure on him. You understand? You know what I'm saying?
Can you guys hear that? Let me know if you guys can hear that. Can you guys hear that? All right, perfect. Let me rewind that part again. You know, I had to pause it right there because I, this is the first time I'm hearing this, that Wade intentionally tried to break Rondo's elbow. That's the first time I'm hearing that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Seriously? That's weird. I just sent the link. I put the link on there. That's kind of weird that you could hear every fifth word.
A lot of people think that in sports, if you have D-Wade, Chris Bosh,
Shannon.
And so they intentionally try to break Jordan's face and back every game. His point? Well, the link that I just sent y'all was what KG was talking about in terms of LeBron, and I'm talking about basically, this. Um, that's kind of weird that you could just only hear every fifth word. Now I got the volume up. But yeah, so what I was talking about, he was basically talking about the league was kind of pushing an agenda for the Miami Heat, and for them to be kind of the next dynasty when LeBron had left in free agency to join Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, since they were all free agents at the time. Wade re-signed, Bosh and LeBron signed. They all took less money, and KG said that the Celtics were not part of it. He kind of thought that they were gonna be, and he was basically talking about how the league was pushing for the Miami Heat, and they really weren't pushing for the Boston Celtics. And what I'm trying to tell y'all is this is what KG's been mad about all this time. And Paul Pierce has come out and said this is why he feels like he would have 5 to 6 championships if a lot of these teams that have all these great players are like, you give me Shaq in the prime with Kobe, you give me Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and all these kind of other guys, that I would have 5 to 6 championships. And I said, look, man, as great as you guys were that one season in 2008 and you guys came close in 2010, you guys won 1 championship in the 5 years that you, Rondo, Ray Allen, KG, Paul Pierce were together, the core 4. And remember, Kendrick Perkins got traded in the 2011 offseason. Shout out to King G in the building. He says, how long you been live? I've been live for close to 30 minutes now. If you can see the time, yeah, 30 minutes. As you can check on StreamYard. So I've kind of been live almost a half an hour because we started at 10:30. So I don't know if you got the notification or not, but yeah, I've been on for just pretty much about a half an hour. And once again, talking about this, that's why I said I find it ridiculous when these guys talk, man. And I know Shannon was ripping KG to shreds and was talking about his time in Minnesota. But let's be honest, Minnesota was a dump of a place. You know, they had some good players, but they were losing to better teams in the Western Conference. And the one time that he really had a good team was 2004. But that was a very veteran group. That was able to get to the Western Conference Finals. But KG only went deep once in his 12 seasons in Minnesota. Just once. I mean, I remember when he had Stephon Marbury. I mean, they were supposed to be the duo of the future, but money got in the way of their friendship. So business got in the way of their friendship, and Marbury wanted to leave because he felt like he was just as worth as KG. The Timberwolves organization didn't see that, so they ended up trading him. And Layla says KG wasted 2/3 of his career in Minnesota, so 5 chips? Nah. He's super angry because he feels he lost his TNT job because of his anger towards LBJ. Very possible. Very possible. KG is a bitter guy, and I could say that KG is an asshole. He is an asshole. I love his intensity when he plays on the basketball court. I'm sorry. Angry. And then King G says, yeah. I laughed my eyes off when they had that special on TNT or NBA TV, something like that, where they acted like they were a dynasty. I mean, just listen to Paul Pierce on ESPN, man. That to me was the funniest thing ever. I mean, it's the same dude that says he's a better shooter than Klay Thompson. He's had a better career than Dwayne Wade, when obviously both of those guys accomplished much more than Paul Pierce did in his career. With all due respect, though, Paul Pierce was the truth when he played, and he is one of the most underrated players in NBA history. And he does have a Finals MVP. Paul Pierce is the truth. No question about it, man. I enjoy watching Paul Pierce play, especially as a competitor, but that dude is delusional. Raduni says, yes, I understand, but Boston's identity was KG. Well, when it came to defense, yeah. When it came to defense, and yeah, he played with pride. He played with Celtics pride. But remember that, and I know he won Defensive Player of the Year in 2008. But let's go back to this team. This team. You got Finals MVP Chauncey Billups. You got Defensive Player of the Year in Ben Wallace. You got Rasheed Wallace, the character that he is. You have a Tayshaun Prince that was in his second season. Tayshaun Prince. He was in the 2002 draft class. And then you got Rip Hamilton, who was traded from he was traded to the Pistons for Jerry Stackhouse. And Layla says he's probably right about that too, because LBJ controls the media and is petty like that. But that is the reason why it's coming out now. Yes. I understand that all these guys, Paul Pierce is nothing special. He was a great player. But like Draymond told Paul Pierce, man, when he was on his way out in retirement, you're not getting a tour, you're not getting a farewell tour because they don't love you like that. He's right. He's not Kobe. It's true. He's not Kobe. And that's what gets Paul Pierce so bitter. I mean, did y'all see when Paul Pierce was supposed to have his ceremony night? He was hoping that Isaiah Thomas is when they were possibly going to give him a video tribute, he was like, oh, not on my night. And I was like, I get it. Okay, not on your night, Paul Pierce, but it's like, dude. It's like, the obsession and like, we know you played longer on the Celtics than Isaiah Thomas did. But Isaiah was kind of embodying, what you have played in your entire career in Boston. He showed a lot of heart. I mean, he played with pride in that Celtics uniform that Isaiah Thomas did. And this is a guy who's small. He may be a liability on defense, but that doesn't question his heart. I mean, his play was as big as his heart. I mean, Paul Pierce was good. He made what? 9 or 10 All-Star teams, I believe. It was somewhere from 8 to 10 All-Star teams. Yeah, I'm not gonna say like, I would say that Paul Pierce was very good. And he has a Hall of Fame career. He was who Harrison Barnes was supposed to be compared to, if you guys know what I'm talking about. That's what he was originally supposed to be. Again, guys, smash the like, hit that subscribe, man. And that's why I said that. I laugh, man. Rashid in the thumbnail is looking at KG and he's laughing his ass off at Paul Pierce, man. And he want to talk smack. The ball don't lie. And KG says people need to understand when we rip into players like Pierce or LeBron, we don't hate them, or at least I don't. But we can't stand the fake shit that they say and they put out to the world. And the bottom line is, KG, it's all media based, man. It's all media based. They make sure that they rehearse with these guys what to tell the media, what to tell to brainwash casuals out in the audience to make sure that they gobble that stuff up, to make it think that it's the truth. When, as you say right there in your comment, it's fake. It's fake shit. It's complete BS. Complete BS. So when people get upset when they talk about you're just another LeBron hater, what I don't understand is how is it that I give you statistics? Because LeBron lovers, they love stats. They love stats for their excuses, or should I say, excuses, when things don't go the way that it's supposed to for them. And I'm going to say this like I said in the last video. I mean, this is the same Detroit Pistons team. 4 of the 5 players that were there. As Layla says, facts. And this is what I'm saying. Layla says it's no longer about playing basketball and competing. It's about narratives. And this is why I put this 2004 Detroit Piston team. They went out and they just played basketball. And at the time period, it was just about playing basketball. While this team, minus Ray Allen, 1, 2, 3 guys right there. In particular, KG and Paul Pierce, they're about narratives. Just like how LeBron is with the media, narratives. That's what it's become. It's all about narratives. It's about soap opera. It's about drama. Who can bring the biggest drama, to the NBA? That's why I said that, you accept the league for what it is because you can't do nothing about the past. And what I wish about these new age players is to appreciate the past in terms of learn the history, to where basketball's gotten. And it's a back and forth with the old school players. They don't respect the players of today. Which is why it goes back to this comment right here when King G says, we need to understand that when we rip into players like Pierce, we don't hate them. If you say anything bad about them, oh, you hate. If you say Paul Pierce wasn't as great as some of these all-time greats, oh, you're a hater. If we say that this 2018 that is as great as it was in that season, regular season-wise, but they're still, to me, a tad bit overrated, it's because they weren't dominant in the postseason. This team went 16-10 in the playoffs. Now, I get it. Some championships are going to be harder than others, of course, but it's like their regular season did not translate to the postseason when it came to dominance. I think the Celtics' total record that entire season, when we look at the entire calendar year from the regular season to the postseason, they went 82-26, which looks great. Now, if they had took off some losses, their record would have stood out a bit more, which would have told you, let's say that they went, 16-5. That would have looked a little more impressive because you could have included a sweep, you could have included a gentleman's sweep, and then you could have included, 6-game series. Like none of the series went 7 games. But the first 3 rounds for the Boston Celtics almost went 7 games each. 7 against the 37-win Atlanta Hawks. Wow, that's impressive. 7 games against the 45-win Cavaliers. Wow, that's impressive. With a 23-year-old LeBron that almost single-handedly, beat you guys. And then you went to 6 games with a Detroit team that did not have Ben Wallace or Larry Brown on the sideline coaching. You had Flip Saunders with a zone defense that focused more on scoring. So you put Larry Brown and Ben Wallace, prime Ben Wallace, because Ben Wallace at this point was with the Cavaliers because he got traded there from Chicago. But think about that. You put let's say you put 2004 Ben Wallace on that Detroit Pistons team and you have Larry Brown coaching. That would have been far more difficult than the Celtics could have imagined. And who knows, they possibly might have not made it out of the East. And King G says Nick Wright calls revisionist history constantly with Kobe, but they do it for the players that fit their narrative and political agenda. People have Jordan because Jordan doesn't give a F. Jordan is an alpha. And I said the same thing about Kobe. Kobe didn't give a F about the media. He has alpha energy. And Phil Jackson said this in Kobe's early years when he was in his early 20s, that Kobe had a lot of alpha male energy. So when you hear that, it tells you Kobe was an alpha, because even Phil Jackson is telling you that Kobe Bryant had alpha energy in the early days when he was with the Lakers, when Phil started coaching him. Even though he deemed him uncoachable by the 2004 season, at the very least, he told him at 21 years old. Kobe had alpha male energy. What does that tell you? Kobe's an alpha. And Layla says, if you can't accept it, at least respect it. They paved the way for you. That's my point. That's my point. And Layla also says, Nick Wrong is the last person to be talking about this when he spews this BS on the daily. Oh, yeah, he's the one that be talking about narratives when it comes to LeBron to fit his own narrative about LeBron. Right. And Radun says, why Ben Wallace is not famous yet, I can. With Ben Wallace, he was a defensive player, so he's not going to get like he's not going to get that kind of recognition because he really wasn't an offensive player. I think he does deserve more credit than he does get credit for, though. I mean, he's won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. I think he only made 4 All-Star teams, though. But he was one of the best defenders of his time. There's no question about that. His low post defense was great. He led the league in block shots, I think, a couple of times. Ben Wallace was a beast of a defender. He was a very good help defender, too. Especially with him and Rasheed when they were anchoring the Pistons defense in 04, 05, and 06. And like I said, those guys competed, man. Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, very mature players. They just went out and competed. Chauncey Billups showed great leadership. And that's why, to me, that the 2008 Celtics would be more appreciated if they didn't go around talking a bunch of nonsense. Because all of them are just about narratives. You don't hear Ray Allen talk like that. He's really more into an appreciation, for the Boston Celtics and the fact that he was able to help them win a championship. Same thing with KG and Paul Pierce and Rajon Rondo. And Big Baby Davis. You don't even hear the role players talking like that. You don't hear Tony Allen or James Posey or Leon Poe or Scott Pollard or Scalabrini, the White Mamba. You don't hear none of those guys. It's the main petty, bitter guys talking. And Layla says, keep smashing that like. Tomoko says, if you Freddie versus Jason, I'll definitely watch that. This is not good for the media if you have alpha energy. Oh, no, they don't like it. All right, Lewis, what do the Lakers have to do in terms of defending the small ball to make it to the finals? Because I'm hesitant to say we'll make it out the West. The Lakers have to use IQ. And what I mean by that is force the small ball teams to play to your style. Do not get baited into playing the style of small ball, because the Lakers roster is not built to play small ball. The roster is built on size. So they need to use their size to their advantage. They're good at rebounding. They're good at blocking shots. They're good at scoring in the paint. Use that, because usually that's the kind of team that you would have in a half-court game when the game slows down in the playoffs. So, King G, to answer your question, they have to force teams to play to their style. Because if they try to do something like the Dallas Mavericks try to do against the Golden State Warriors, they will get upset and bounced out in the first round, especially if they maintain the number 1 seed. So, King G, that's what I think needs to happen for the Lakers. That's what I think.
Because if they try to do something.
So that's just my personal opinion. And Tomoko says, I remember when Kobe visited the Philippines and he was amazed at the spirit of basketball in the Philippines. Oh, I didn't know that. And I apologize for the extra audio, guys. That was me just looking at the kind of reloading the stream on YouTube because I'm doing it through StreamYard. You know, as I said. So you guys, again, man, make sure you guys smash the like button. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, man, for the Lewis Sports Network again. So like I said, King G, for the Lakers, they just need to, again, force teams to play their style. Layla says they need to grow some balls, testosterone. Unfortunately, it's too late for that now. Fear and respect are necessary to win championships, and the Lakers don't aspire another. I agree with that, too. I agree with that. But that's my problem, and that thing with LeBron and AD, it's like they're putting this facade, making you think that you need to fear them. But they're not putting fear. And I told you, even though the Clippers have not played up to expectations, and even though Paul George has been cotton nail tissue paper injury prone, I'm telling you right now, with the players that they picked up, people are just saying that, that the Clippers need all these pieces to beat the Lakers. They're like, they need a suit. I heard some dude was like, the Clippers need a super team to beat LeBron. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are the only 2 All-Stars on that team. What are you talking about? You see, it goes back to what Layla was talking about. Fitting narratives to appease LeBron. Don't the Lakers have a deep team themselves? And as last time I checked, even though DeMarcus Cousins isn't an All-Star, last time I remember, people were going on DeMarcus Cousins saying, the Warriors have 5 All-Stars. Him, Draymond, Iguodala, Steph, and Clay. But if he was to join the Lakers again, wouldn't have LeBron play with another former All-Star in DeMarcus Cousins? But then y'all gonna say, but he was injured. He didn't play in the season. He's coming back from an ACL injury. I'm like, y'all didn't keep that same energy when he was with the Golden State Warriors. I'm sorry. And shout out to Raduni, who says KG was barely a superstar, and that's why he talks. But Paul Pierce, no. Don't forget Chauncey Billups. The man led his team to 6 conference finals. That's a very good point. And I said that as impressive as people want to talk about LeBron's 8 straight finals appearances, when he stacked the deck, Chauncey Billups, as the leader of the Pistons, went to 6 straight, actually 7 straight. He went to 6 straight with the Pistons, and when he got traded to the Nuggets went to the Western Conference Finals against Kobe's Lakers in 2009. So he went to 7 straight conference finals. Because if people remember, LeBron went to 8 straight finals on 2 different teams. At least with Chauncey Billups, he went to 6 straight with one team and then went 1 straight after he got traded to the Nuggets. See, but the media doesn't really talk about that because Chauncey Billups he's not known as like a superstar or megastar that somebody's going to talk about. He was just a very good all-star player and one of the more underrated, impactful leaders, on a basketball team. And remember that Chauncey Billups was a journeyman when he first started. Like, he didn't find his niche until he went to Minnesota as a bench player, playing with Terrell Brandon. So like I said, all these guys are petty from the 08 Celtics, minus Ray Allen. They're salty because they didn't win more championships so that they could continue to talk. And it goes back to Layla's point. It's about narratives. It's not about basketball anymore. It's about who could create the most, who could create such a big story, who could create storylines. That's what it's about. It's not even about the game anymore. That's what makes it so sad. And So going back to King G, he's basically asking me, so Lewis, what you think about Ticket TV? I mean, I'm actually subscribed to his channel, but for some reason, when I put comments on his channel, for some reason they don't show on his streams. So I don't know if he has me. I don't know if he has me blocked or somewhat. I'm not really sure. I don't know what's going on. But no, I like his I like his content, and he be telling the truth. Especially when it's come to the Lakers and the Clippers. I mean, he's a Laker fan, but he tells the truth about the Clippers. I mean, it's the truth, and truth is, man, I like Ticket, man. Ticket keeps it real, man. He keeps it 100, man. So I respect Ticket's grind. I respect his hustle, no doubt. Yeah, Ticket be making me laugh. He makes me laugh. Layla says she just found Ticket, man. He's hilarious. That dude is funny, man. I gotta admit, he knows how to put on the show. Just from Rob. Oh, Two Raw's another one. Two Raw be cracking me up, especially when they both go on their rants. I be cracking up. Those two are funny, man. Facts, man. He's live right now about him saying the Clippers are better than the Lakers at this point. Listen, people, when we talk about the Clippers, man, people just want to be like, oh, you know, the Clippers are not better than the Lakers because they're getting all these players. Why does Kawhi get all this help just to beat LeBron? But you LeBron fanboys in the media weren't complaining about it when LeBron was going to 8 straight finals. So I don't understand it, man. Like James Harden, has said about the media narrative. Yeah, but James Harden tries to fit his own narrative. Just look at him. He cares about MVPs more than championships, and he feels like Giannis stole his MVP award. And James Harden is not winning the MVP this year, no matter how much he wants to talk garbage. He's not winning the MVP. James Harden is part of what's wrong with today's NBA. It's not about basketball. It's about narratives. It's about storylines and narratives. Who could create the best storylines? You whine, bitch, and moan. I'm sorry, man. It doesn't even feel like a man's league anymore. Tupac versus Eminem at rap. Who wins? I'll let the chat answer that one. I mean, I honestly think they're both great. I'm a little biased. I'd probably go with Tupac. I love Eminem, though. And like Tomoko says, every once in a while, you kind of ask a question to kind of break off topic. So that's what he does. So don't take it seriously, guys. Tomoko just does that. That's what he does. So that's why I find it ridiculous, man, with these people. And Layla says, like Ticket said, complaining about the Clippers making all these moves when the Lakers were trying the same moves, just nobody wanted to join them. I find it so ridiculous how they were trying to go after Darren Collison, how they were trying to go after Reggie Jackson. They were trying to go after Marcus Morris. They were going after all these players, but yet the fanboys are complaining that the Clippers have them and they don't. And let me just say that, man. Let me just say this. Would anybody be complaining if these guys were Los Angeles Lakers? Like I said, they know what's going to happen once they join. They know what's going to happen when they get joined. They already see it. That's why they didn't join. They didn't join the Lakers. Come on now. And it's because they see the truth. Remember, the players talk around the league. I mean, LeBron fanboys and fangirls, they've gotten upset as to want to know who are these anonymous executives that be talking about LeBron and talk about what's going to happen when you happen to play with him. So like Layla says, man, the Clippers, listen, in case if Paul George does not work, that's all they got these backups for. So let's say that Paul George struggles. They have the depth. And I'm pretty sure that Doc Rivers is going to go 9-10 deep in this postseason, because it's like he already said, he doesn't know how healthy Paul George is going to be. So you want insurance, man. And she says Tupac and M. Damn, Tupac because he's dead, but he's close. Raduni says Tupac has more legendary music. Yeah, you can agree with that. It's close, and I love M, but I'm saying this. Shout out to Lowly One in the building. Make sure y'all smash that like and hit that subscribe. He says, let me make sure. He says, no complaints. If they were going to the Lakers, everybody wants to help a player thriving on borrowed time. That's why when I released the Warriors video the other day, I was didn't I tell you? I was like, why is Nick complaining about the Warriors so much, but they lost in the NBA Finals to the Toronto Raptors, and they're not making the playoffs this year? And there's already, again, reports Steph Curry is looking good in practice, and Klay Thompson is nearing a March return. So just imagine if those two come back. Remember that Andrew Wiggins was just traded there. If they could get themselves a rim-protecting big man, the Warriors are right back in the mix and the West becomes more tougher. Also, don't forget that Kevin Durant is looking good with his jump shot, and he can improve the Brooklyn Nets out in the Eastern Conference. So if the competition improves next year, I'm sorry, it's not looking good for LeBron. And that's why I said that his one opportunity to win a championship is this season. There's no excuses if he doesn't get it done. So no matter what the fanboys talk about, how, oh, there's so many LeBron haters. You know who's going to hate LeBron even more? Laker fans, Kobe fans. They're going to hate LeBron anymore, and he's going to have to deal with that. Forget about the media coming down on LeBron, because that's actually going to be worse because they're going to slowly but turn away, and they're going to be looking for the next one. But I'm telling you, I'm already telling you. I'm telling you. Layla says, once LeBron retires, the next one up must have alpha energy, or we're in for another decade of this softness. Let me ask y'all a question. Who, in your opinion, in today's game gives you that alpha mentality that you can say that he's going to be the next best superstar and his team is going to be the next dynasty in the NBA? Let me know in the comments. I agree with Layla, though. They need to find their alpha energy, man. They need to find their MJ. They need to find their Kobe. I just feel like as for LeBron as an ambassador of the league, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of let me down for somebody who I had high hopes for. Raduni says, what about Kyrie for being nominated as Vice President Player Association? I'm very, very, very confused by that, Raduni. The reason being is because if you hear the way that Kyrie talks, you feel like he's done with basketball, but yet he got nominated as Vice President. And remember, who's head president? That's Chris Paul. How do you guys feel about Kyrie being Vice President of the Players Association? Tomoko says, how much does a coach of a basketball team contribute to a team's play style? Well, remember, a coach is talking about plays. A coach is a motivator. A coach is someone who talks to the players. Because remember, the plays are designed by the coach and the coaching staff. It's up to the players to execute. And also, a coach has to be able to communicate with the player, and they have to establish a relationship. So players make coaches, and coaches make players. Coaches make players better, and players make coaches. Because what a coach has to basically do is he has to believe in not only the system that he's teaching, but he has to believe the players that he is teaching the system to, and that he has the confidence in them for them to go out and execute the game plan. And remember that the point guard is an extension of the coach. So they're the quarterback on the floor, while the coach is the quarterback on the sidelines and in the timeouts and in the practices. So that's how much a coach contributes. They contribute from the sideline. And the point guard contributes it on the basketball court with the other players. And coaches are responsible for pretty much pushing the right buttons in terms of rotations. Who do they put in? Who fits in what in terms of what kind of lineup they want to play? So all of that factors. Also, if it's somebody, and remember, When you're the coach of a team, you want to make sure that your team is listening to you and they buy in terms of what you're preaching. If they don't buy in, they don't respect you. Then a coach doesn't really contribute to a basketball team if your basketball team is not listening to your message. You want them to listen to your message. That's how they're going to respect you, and that's how much a coach contributes. A coach can contribute to a team to how much a team is listening to their coach. So does that answer your question, Smoko? And Doug Banks says the Celtics win over the Lakers made Paul Pierce the greatest of all time. That's Paul Pierce's own words. Oh yeah, that's easy. Because it made me the greatest of all time. Oh, I definitely had a better career than Dwayne Wade. Oh, I definitely am a better shooter than Klay Thompson. The numbers don't say that, but that's neither here nor there. You didn't hear that from me, guys. King G says, what's funny is that both Kawhi and Paul George are Laker fans. They both wanted to play for the Lakers until it was announced that LeBron was signing with LA, and next thing, George re-signs with OKC. It's funny, though. The Lakers had their team set up in terms of how they were going to build it. LeBron James spoiled all those plans from the minute he was going there. And I'm going to say it again, and I've said this many times in many other streams and in videos. Dwayne Wade exposed that when he told people in the media that LeBron had his sights set on going to the Los Angeles Lakers in the offseason, which is why he was signing those one-and-one deals since they lost to Golden State in 2017 in KD's first year. So it didn't matter what was going to happen in the 2017-2018 season. Do y'all remember when the media was talking how much about how the Cavaliers got better in the offseason? Then LeBron James showed no leadership that entire 2018 season. He knew about Dwayne Wade getting traded to Miami, and he pretended that he didn't know a damn thing about it. And I told you that that was a throwaway season for LeBron, so that in case if the roster didn't work out the first go around, then they trade all those players for pretty much cast-offs in George Hill and Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance and Rodney Hood, that there would be excuses that he didn't have help. So that would give him a reason to leave, because remember, he didn't commit to the Cavaliers when Dan Gilbert asked him to. And they never really had a relationship. Let me see. Oh, Layla says, I ain't mad at change, dear mama, but the best hip hop song ever is first off is fuck your and click your claim. West Side. The media are so scared of the Warriors next year. Yeah, they're scared. Shannon sounds very scared of Kawhi and the Clippers. And I'm gonna tell it again. Would they be complaining about low management if Kawhi was a Laker? No, they would not. I'm NY, so I'm with Biggie though. Giannis has it. King G says Giannis, Doug Banks saying Zion. The next alpha is John Morant. That's an interesting one. Also agree he's taking that torch from Curry. Doug Banks says if Curry can get with him and work on his jump shot, John Morant is going to be dang near unstoppable. Well, not after the comments that John made about Curry, though, but that's just me, you know? Kyrie is a drama show walking, but somehow seems to have alpha energy because he doesn't react as emotionally to people, just to what people have done to him. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I feel like he's a tweener between alpha and beta. He's a tweener. I forget about Giannis, John Morant, Zion, alpha players. Raduni says, yep, it's Magic's fault. He brought him in here. He needs his correct share of the blame for the soft ass and breakable Davis in LA. You know what I get mad about? How people just excuse Magic Johnson and talk about he didn't want to be part of that toxic environment. Well, he was the one that helped bring LeBron to the Lakers. I told you that him, Jeannie Buss, and LeBron were playing a game of it wasn't me as to why the Lakers were so bad last year. If you take away the injuries, even if they were playing well, Magic Johnson tried to excuse himself out of that situation. I told you, when it comes to, I feel like Magic has no idea what he's doing. And he's one of the most fortunate people to ever, like I said, as a basketball player, I love him. His personality, wonderful. But when it comes to decision-making in terms of business, when it comes to him as an analyst, when it comes to him as a spokesperson, he sucks. And he was a terrible coach. That's why this persona of Magic Johnson, in my opinion, to me, is just overrated. I told you he has a wonderful personality when it comes to he's very outgoing, he's very out there. I could listen to Magic talk all day when it comes to telling stories, but I told you, as a business person, he's terrible. As an analyst, he's terrible. He was a terrible coach. There's just some things he really can't do. Because you remember, he wanted to get out of that drama mess in LA. But then when Anthony Davis comes to the Lakers, when Rob Pelinka makes the move, he wants to take credit for bringing LeBron and AD, and then wants to say that Rob Pelinka was doing a great job. Lowly says, I'm not sure about the next alpha yet. I don't think that they will be able to engage in that conversation until LBJ officially retires. You may have a point there. I think you may have a point. And the reason being is because he's so talked about so much, I think it's going to be very hard for him to go. It was a thorough answer, Lewis. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that you like the thorough answer. Kyrie was an alpha of that Cleveland Cavaliers team. Here's the thing with that Raduni, though. Unfortunately, though, the stigma with him and what is always going to stick with him is that he was never able to win without LeBron. And I said that in fairness to Kyrie, he was never put a team around him neither. That was not a winnable roster that he had. Josh, pretty alpha. Competitive banter. Curry and John Moran had a convo afterwards. John's a big Curry fan. He even admitted it on Twitter. Yeah, I think that's just all competitive. I think that whole comment that he was talking about with Curry was stemming from Iguodala. Ya plus Giannis equals alpha. Mm-hmm. So, does anybody want to come on? Would anybody like to come on? Layla says LBJ looked like an alpha when he first came in, though. No, he did. I told you I was rooting for LeBron. You know, I was rooting for him. I thought that when he first came in, he gave me an alpha feel. He really did. That's just not the case from like 2010 on, man. I just felt like he hasn't given me that energy. And he cries a lot, man. For someone who doesn't flop to the media, he flops a lot. And he was doing it so much in his days in Miami. From 2010 on, this guy flops. He out here lying. And again, it goes back to what Layla was saying about narratives. All right. So there goes Layla. She goes, Kyrie is alpha. He's just jaded. Godzilla Kong are like the ultimate alpha males, and I can't wait for the movie this November. Sounds dope, man. I can't wait to see it. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the new NBA logo, Doug Banks in the building, man. What is going on, Doug Banks? I appreciate you coming through, my man.
What's going on, man? Nothing much, man. Just getting off work.
No doubt.
Yeah. So
all right, shout out to Doug Banks, ladies and gentlemen. So if y'all haven't, make sure y'all subscribe to my man Doug Banks' channel, man.
You know it.
Appreciate you coming on. Special guest Doug Banks in the building. Like I said, anybody who wants to come in as well can come in. So Doug Banks, I know we've been shifting topics here and around there, but it's just crazy. It's just crazy how about these 2008 Celtics, man, have been drinking that delusional coffee with ESPN and them, man, talking about how much they have broken LeBron, number one, and then also on top of that, these guys have been talking about basically how they feel like they're one championship dynasty in NBA history. And that's what I said. I want to get your thoughts on the difference between the 2004 Pistons, who I have a lot more respect than the 2008 Celtics, and I'm taking Ray Allen off of that because I feel like he is a little bit more respectful, and you don't see him talking all that nonsense.
Right. No, he. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Let's see, because like it was back then I didn't watch the the NBA as hard. I mean, but I did watch like all the finals and stuff like that. So the old like the '04. I remember like that series kind of shocked me a little bit because the
Mm-hmm.
Lakers were like the favorites coming in, especially with Kobe, the team that still had Kobe, Shaq, Malone, Gary Payton. I think I remember like watching like certain points of the season, with basically media covering the Lakers being the prohibited favorites to win the title
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. Like almost like it was a sure thing. Kind of like with the Warriors last year. Obviously injuries played a factor. Um, in that series with the Lakers and Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to think. He'll remember the Boston one. I do remember. I do remember Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce had like a phenomenal postseason run. He had that resurrection, coming back from the dead injury, and then you know what I'm talking
Speaking of that,
about.
I'm glad Carl Pierce cleared that up. I think it was in the finals when they were talking about when he was crying like if he tore his ACL, he had to be carried off,
Yeah,
put him in a wheelchair, and then he comes back all jumping. And it was because it was some kind of a little bathroom break. What is it? He had to do number two or something like that. So I'm thinking he kind of
I
took a dump in his pants or something
I don't know
because
what he ate. I don't know what he ate. It must have been bad, whatever it was, to get a
I feel like
wheelchair
he had
out.
to do that to kind of throw the Lakers off because I remember that game that in that game I think the Lakers had
Mm,
gotten within I think they got real close and then he hit two threes and then they kind of separated the game. Um, pretty much
yeah,
from there and they ended up winning that game. Uh, but yeah, my issue
it
was is that
was.
the crazy part was about the Pistons. They seemed that '04 Pistons team for me seemed more dominant than the 2008 Celtics team, even though they won more games. And if you look at their defense, I really thought that defense that they played in the regular season, because I remember Tracy
Hmm.
McGrady was basically saying, "Oh man," he said he felt like that was the greatest defense he ever played against. And
Yeah, yeah,
I'm thinking to myself, man, I said they're gonna bring the same thing to the playoffs. But like I was mentioning earlier in the stream, I'm saying to myself, okay, you went to 7 games against a team, the Joe Johnson Atlanta Hawks. They only won 37 games that year. So you won 29 more games in your
yeah,
conference. And you almost lost to that team in 7 games. And I mean,
yeah. You
this was
can't.
before
Yeah.
Zaza became Zaza a cheap shot, as Skip likes to call him. Back in 2008 when he got into
Right, right,
KG's
right.
face, and I still remember that when he got in game 3 or 4. And and then, like I said, and
Mm,
then the next round against the LeBron-led Cavaliers, who a lot of people like to always deem LeBron took trash teams. I said, but this same trash team was a great defensive team. And like I said, like if you look at the stats, the Celtics averaged 100 points per game in the regular season, which was, I believe, in the top 10. The Cavaliers held them
hmm.
to 84 points per game in that 7 game series. And LeBron nearly by himself because he scored 45 in that game 7 when Pierce had the 41 and then back and forth. They
Right, right,
almost
right.
knocked off Boston, and that could have ended their championship hopes. And that really would have been
Yeah,
a failed experiment. You know. Um.
yeah.
So what you call it, man? So yeah, man. This is why I said that. I know KG likes to talk about broke LeBron in 2010 and all that, but it's just like, yo, KG's career. I mean, if we really want to look at it, man, they didn't. They only won. He only went to one Western Conference Final in 12 seasons. So, and I know Minnesota was a joke of a franchise. They didn't really have. He only really had like one good team, and the very next year, they eliminated that. So, um, he ends up getting traded. But he's lucky because if he didn't go to Boston, I mean, we wouldn't even be talking to KG as an NBA champion, as great as he
Nope,
was.
at all. Nope, that's true. Yeah, he had to basically team up with Ray Allen, and they had Sam Cassell on that squad too, who I think
Yeah,
was underrated. You know, he
Yep.
was a two-time champion prior to join that team. I do remember that. So, yeah, I see some parallels with the Raptors. It's kind of like a Raptors kind of doing a similar thing, but it's kind of like with Kawhi though, like how they act like Kawhi didn't play a role in their championship, and like, oh, we were this great organization, and we were winning, and
See,
all this crazy.
yeah, man. I mean, that's a good point, Doug, because this is what's getting me mad about a lot of people who are hating on Kawhi Leonard. Does he get credit? A little too much credit? Yeah, at times he does. But
A little bit, but yeah,
what I keep telling people is this: are you telling me that with the same team that they had with Siakam, with Fred VanVleet, with Kyle Lowry, with Serge Ibaka, and this was before they even got Marcus Gasol, they had a similar team back in 2018. They won 59 games. But remember, who was on that team? DeMar DeRozan. How was Kyle Lowry
hmm
playing with DeMar DeRozan compared to how he was playing with Kawhi Leonard?
oh man, night and day. Yeah, he would, yeah, almost night. I mean, he had that 0 point game for like the first game of the playoffs, but from that point on, he's been playing really good. He played really good basketball in the postseason. And you know, when they needed him to hit shots, he did. And he was a difference maker. And there's no way the Raptors win that chip without what Lowry brought to the table, because he took pressure out off of Kawhi Leonard. You know what I'm saying? Like he was another one that was able to create and get his own shot. And so you couldn't really, like, even if you were one to double team Kawhi, which the Warriors did do in that series, guys like a Kyle Lowry, like a Van Fleet, like a Serge Ibaka, you know, we're hitting buckets. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they were a balanced team, and so I guess there's some parallels between that team and Boston Celtics, which was a veteran laden squad, much like the Raptors were. The Raptors also had a lot of veterans on that roster as well, including on the bench, and that made the difference in that finals, and that kind of played a role in the 2008 finals with the Celtics. And so,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I just
No, yeah. I mean, and that's why I'm saying that that those teams were very good. I'm just saying that the difference is that yeah, I mean, if you look at the NBA Finals, I mean, Kawhi didn't obviously win it by himself. Was he the best player? Yeah,
right.
but he got some great performances. I mean, I think it was in what was
hmm
it, game 4? They had 4 players score 20 points. Siakam had a 32-point game in that game 1. So they had a little bit of everything, man. And so,
Right.
I know they got lucky against Philly, but let's face it, Kawhi doesn't play
I
like that.
mean,
Because look, he kept playing. If you look at the Raptors players like Kyle Lowry, I mean, he didn't look as nervous, but again, it was like he was starting to miss shots, and we were looking at playoff L again and playoff Lowry.
hmm
If you look at Siakam was scared to make a play because I felt like he was trying to play not to lose and then possibly become a scapegoat if the Raptors don't win. And
yeah,
remember, they were being looked at as more of a championship team now that Kawhi had joined with Danny Green. But it all would have went, south had they lost to the Sixers, and then they faced the Bucks. We'd be talking Bucks versus Warriors in the NBA Finals, and
yeah,
maybe, just maybe,
yeah, yeah,
the Bucks win, or maybe the Warriors win. Who knows?
yeah. Look, I mean, what's interesting about last year's playoffs is like low key, like that playoffs had a lot of parity. You know what I'm saying? Like this was the first LeBronless playoffs in a long time. So it was actually like it was actually some fun playoff matchups to watch, some intriguing matchups. To the point that had you thinking like, man, this team could lose. Like, this team could actually lose this series. Like that's how um, matched up some of these teams were. We, like you said, Toronto was one shot away from not being there. Milwaukee, they was up 2-1 on the same Toronto Raptors team. If
Mm-hmm.
if Giannis knocks down a few jump shots, then who knows? You're right. We could be talking about Milwaukee holding up a championship. So, um, I mean, and even in the West, the Clippers, I mean, we know the Clippers didn't. They're not the same team as they are right now, but I mean, they even won 2 games over the Warriors that did have a KD and a Steph and the Clay and the Draymond. So, um, That was definitely a fun postseason. I think this postseason is going to be just as interesting. To be honest, to watch. It is. I mean, I have my idea. Like, I think the Clippers are going to be there. I think the Bucks are going to be there, but it wouldn't surprise me if someone else, came out of nowhere, made a run, or made things interesting in the playoffs. Like, I think the Miami Heat, are an interesting team. I think even the Sixers are somewhat of an interesting team. I don't know. They got some issues here and there, but Ben Simmons is still a good player. Embiid still a good player, and they did get stronger on the bench with adding Glenn Robinson the third and
Mm-hmm.
Alice Burst, who can come off the bench and get you points. So that's going to be big in the playoffs. And that takes pressure off some of your starters. So even the Boston Celtics, with the way Tatum's been playing lately, they're an interesting team, especially with the way that they share the ball. Of course, Kyrie, as dynamic as he was, you know, what I'm saying, with Kimba fits their system better, because he's someone that, just like he blends in with their system. He shares the ball, and then when you need him to knock down shots or get a bucket, he can do that. And
Mm-hmm.
so even the Boston Celtics are an interesting team to me. So it's just, you know a lot of teams that kind of, intrigue me. I think that you can tell I'm interested in how the East is going to shape up, because yeah, I got the because I got Milwaukee making it, because I think Milwaukee is probably one of the more complete teams in the Eastern Conference. But like it's so even, somewhat even across. There's a lot of good teams in the East. Uh, this coming postseason, I'm man, yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the postseason.
No, definitely the postseason is going to be very exciting. It's going to be very exciting, man. I really like the matchups. I like the fact that the East is improved. Like I said, we can be. Shout out to Raduni, who said, "Don't sleep on the Dallas Mavericks." I think they're going to be a major player
Yeah,
next year. Don't be a major. I mean, obviously next year I think they're going to be a major player. But for right now, I mean, you just look at some of these teams. I mean, the Indiana Pacers. Hopefully, their chemistry gets better with Oladipo.
I forgot about them. Yeah,
That's a dark horse team that people don't really talk about. Obviously, the Miami Heat, with the way that they're loaded, I feel like they can challenge the Bucks in the East. The Sixers have the length to guard the Bucks, especially with Giannis
Mhm.
Antetokounmpo. That's why I said it was crucial for them to get bench players to be able to help with the scoring off the bench, because they were weak in that department, especially with the fact that Simmons can't shoot. Um,
Right, right.
so you
He
have them,
just
and
don't
then
shoot.
yeah, he chooses not to shoot. He's just playing the way he is and he's trying to go under the radar. But it's like, for those who really see Ben Simmons, man, for
Right.
what he is, trust me, he's gonna get all the smoke if the Sixers don't make it to the NBA Finals.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
especially because Stephen A. Smith Simp keeps picking the Sixers and he keeps being dead wrong. So if he picks the Sixers, I'm glad. See, Stephen A. Who you pick? Oh, they're not going to the finals? Okay, yeah. All right, so you already know. Anytime he picks, you already know he going against it, man.
Mhm.
I tell you, man, what a clown, bro.
I
Uh,
didn't know I didn't know Katie Nick's uniform was black.
right, right. Oh
Yeah,
man, so like, no, Layla, you're right. You really can't make this shit up. You really can't. Um,
nope.
every time I look at, it's true. Every time I look at Tomoko's comments, I be trying to figure out what happens, because it's like he always has a massive plan on changing the topic. We'll be talking some basketball, and he'll go from
Nope.
Godzilla to King Kong, and he'll be like, no, we're talking about alpha males, but it's like he tries to he tries to spit it in his own way. So he funny, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, let me ask you this. What
Yeah,
do you think of the Clippers getting Reggie Jackson?
I like the move. I like the move, and the reason I say that is because Laker fans are getting mad, especially pretty much Kawhi haters are getting upset because they're saying he's getting all this help, right? But the Clippers are trying to put themselves in position to win. And I'm gonna say this
Right.
again, Laker fans, Laker organization, weren't you guys trying to get Reggie Jackson as well? Because Shannon Sharp
Thank
and
you.
Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp was basically saying, "Oh, it doesn't really matter. Like it's really not a big deal." But if they had gotten Reggie Jackson, he would have been penciling in championship already. He said, "Now we get the playmaker that we need." All of a sudden, you got the playmaker that you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's gonna help because again, a lot of these
Oh,
signings are in a lot of these signings for me are insurance in case of Paul George because I think I know what Kawhi Leonard is gonna bring. But again,
yeah.
it's one because
Right.
of Paul George's injuries, and two, how is he gonna perform in the playoffs because of his little bit of recent history of not showing up when it matters in big games.
Right.
So that's why the Clippers are making these these little security signings. Getting Marcus Morris for toughness, getting Reggie Jackson. You got dogs on your team, and I think they're also doing it to kind of put some fear and respect. And I said it already many times ago. I feel like the Clippers are about to play their best basketball. Excuse me, their best basketball in the second half. They haven't played it
Yeah.
out to yet. I know people have been getting on them, but why are the Clippers not getting talked about for losing to teams and allowing 140 points and all that? And I said, yeah, listen, I give them their smoke because they haven't looked like that. But again, they're looking at big picture. And that's why I'm still concerned about the Lakers. People can say what they want about, I don't trust Paul George and this and this and that. I feel like the Clippers have put
Yep.
themselves in better position. And I think Doc Rivers is going to be able to handle it, to handle the Clippers. And I think they're going to get their rotations together and you're going to see it. I will say that a little bit of an issue is going to be how's he going to distribute the minutes with Lou Will and Pat Bev. So that to me is going to be an interesting thing. But I think if Doc can figure that out, I think the Clippers to me are putting themselves in a position to win. And like I said, they're talking about the Houston Rockets and you got to watch out for them. You definitely do have to watch out for them. But
Yeah.
I think the Clippers have the depth and they'll pay more attention on how to guard the Rockets. And I think that if they were to meet, I think the Clippers will knock them out in the playoffs because I just
Oh
don't
yeah.
think I
I
just
say
don't
four to
think
five games. Yeah.
yeah I just don't think the two superstars with the same system isolation system is going to win in the playoffs. We've already seen it happen time and time again. All right, man. So in the comments, the Eastern Conference Finals, Raduni says is Bucks and Heat. You know what's funny? I I really think that is going to be the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I could be
I
wrong,
could
but
see
I
that.
think that's what's going to happen.
I could see that too. Honestly. Yeah.
I really could. So Dub Banks, what is your opinion on the Reggie Jackson signing for the Clippers? Like, what good do you see? Any
Yeah.
good you see from it, and what might be concerning with you from that signing of Reggie Jackson for the Clippers after being bought out by the Pistons?
Um. I like the signing because you get again another guy that can get his own shot and you bolster that bench even more and you basically get another guy that could take the pressure off of not just Paul George but Kawhi Leonard as well because Kawhi Leonard doesn't have to carry a bunch of the load offensively, and he could put a bit more emphasis on defense too, being that Kawhi likes to guard the team's best player. So I like the signing. Again, I feel like you said, I feel like it's a assurance policy. They're trying to position themselves as much as possible to compete and not just compete but win this championship. So if say like obviously you don't want to lose Kawhi or Paul George, but say you have a nagging injury here and there, you can probably afford to sit them out for a game or something like that in a series, and have them rested up because they are thinking that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and so there's still a regular season basketball left, and then you're gonna have about 16 playoff games, well, at least 16.
At
It could
least,
be
yeah.
more, you know.
Right.
And so you want to You want to make sure you have guys that you can rotate, have some depth. Be you want to be deep because you don't want to put so much on your main guys that you're counting on to get it done. And that's what the Lakers are not understanding is that with AD and LeBron, they're what the way they're doing what they're doing, it concerns me because AD has already had some injuries here and there. LeBron, he's kept up for the most part, but he is a guy that's like what 35? Is he 35 or 30? I don't know how.
He's
Is he
35. He's
35?
35.
Yeah, he's 35. Yeah, he's 35 now, and so he can't carry the load that he used to carry. And I've seen LeBron take games off here and there, where he'll drop like 16 to 18 points. Well, mainly 18 points here and there, and even a certain percentage of that will be in like garbage time when they have the lead or something like that. And then there are
Mm-hmm.
other times where he'll really assert himself and he'll drop like 30 to 35, like a triple double, type
Right.
game. And so they had to like LeBron has a lot of mileage on that body. He came straight out of high school, straight into the pros, and he's been playing high level basketball for about 20 years. So that's going to take that takes a toll on your body. And I don't like the way the Lakers are managing their roster. They're not being smart at all. And you're playing guys like Rajon Rondo out of position, who should have the ball in his hands, but you're taking it out of his hands and making him a spot up shooter. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make any sense at all. And then you have and then like a Kyle Kuzma. Out. Say what you want about Kyle Kuzma, but the guy can get buckets. He can create and get his own shot, and they don't use him. And when they do use him, they tell him how to play instead of just letting him go play his game. He needs to be like your Klay Thompson, basically. Meaning, like I know Klay Thompson plays a little bit differently with the Warriors, but with his role with the Warriors is like, hey, go get buckets. That needs to be Kuzma's role. Like
Mm-hmm.
he needs to be one of your scorers. And my opinion, he shouldn't be coming off the bench. He should be starting because he's someone that could take pressure off of both LeBron and AD. If he's giving you like 20, like say 25 a game, that makes a major difference with his presence on the floor because that's opened up the court a little bit more. Where a player like LeBron is well in space, a player like AD, what I'm saying, could have not as many contested shots in the paint. This is why AD has gotten hurt sometimes because when he's going up and going up and getting points in the paint, he's getting banged up here and there because the lane is clogged up from time to time. A lot of that is because the players around him aren't contributing at the level that they could be.
Mm-hmm.
The simple fact that they're just not using them. So I'm just telling everybody, be warned, man. The Clippers are coming, and they're here to stay. As long as Kawhi and Paul George in the game, Jerry West is a beast. He at 3 different franchises. Do y'all know in the West? He's won with the Warriors. He's won at least 3 championships. Well, all except the Clippers. He's won with at least 3 championships at multiple franchises. He's won 5 with the Lakers, and probably more than that. I don't know. Did he win some back in the '80s? He helped win some, or back
Well,
early? I don't know.
are you talking about Jerry West?
Jerry West.
Okay, so let me break it down for you. So so everybody knows about his 1-8 finals record. So he went to the finals 9 times.
Right.
He got that one championship in that historic 72 season, and the 72 Lakers are one of the greatest teams of all time. He won 5 championships as the GM of the Lakers in the 80s, because he was their general manager. So that's 5 to the 1. And then on top of that, he won himself 2 championships with the Lakers in 2000 and 2001. I think 2001 was his last year. He had issues with Phil Jackson, and the Lakers pretty much took Phil Jackson's side and they gave him the boot. And Jerry West is kind of doing this as more so revenge than anything, which is kind of why he's kind of going all in with the chips to get back at the Lakers for dismissing him back in 2001. And that's when Nick Kupchak took over. He was the protege of Jerry West, so he's really trying to stick it to the Lakers. And I said people were like, "Oh, bring Jerry West back." I said the only way that Jerry West would ever come back to the Lakers is if the Lakers pay him a load amount of money. Because remember this, he's the logo of the NBA, and he admitted
Right.
this for Kobe's passing. He doesn't get paid. I don't even know when the NBA decided to make Jerry West a logo, but Jerry West doesn't even get paid for being the logo, and he's supposed to
That's
be.
that's bull. Yeah, I would sue him for that because you making
I'm
money off of
surprised.
his likeness.
I'm surprised. And Jerry West to this day, he did not even know about that. And then once he found out, and I'm saying I'm surprised Jerry West hasn't sued the NBA for using him as a logo. They've been profiting off of Jerry West for such a long time now, and they're doing the same thing with Kobe's death too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what really pisses me off. And it's like so all they did was kind of name an MVP award of the All-Star game after Kobe.
Yeah,
I mean,
come on.
listen to me. Listen to me, man. That doesn't really mean anything. It's hardware that you can add to your individual accomplishments, but it doesn't really mean anything. You could have named a Finals MVP after him. You could have named the championship after him. Something that's got more meaning. But an All-Star MVP, right. that's a slap in the face. That just is further proof right there to me that they really don't care about Kobe like they say they think they do. And I've been saying it from the moment he passed away. They really don't care about him like that. They really don't.
No. I'm gonna jump on that. But let me. Okay, I want to finish the Jerry West part real quick.
Sure.
But yeah. So like you said, basically he's won over 10 championships in between two franchises, and it looks like he's going to win. Help the franchise Clippers, who were cursed, get their first championship, and so it. Like the Lakers, y'all. That's all I'm gonna say about that. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, because the thing is that what people don't understand is that so he was responsible for like about responsible for like 8 championships. Then he he leaves. He turned the Grizzlies into a winning franchise, even though they've never won a championship.
Right.
He leaves them, and then he goes to Golden State, and look at that. They win what? They win their championships.
3 of the last 5, yeah.
They win 3 of the last 5, and he helped the foundation from that.
And I was gonna say, and it definitely would have been 4 if KD was healthy. So, Jerry West, man, that dude is a beast, man. He just knows how to put teams together, and he just knows. And it's not just the teams, but I think he understands relationships, and it's like what works, how to build something. And so that's the difference maker, man. That's the real ace in the hole for the Clippers, because like prior to that, I was gonna say prior to that, they had like another, squad in, Kawhi, Chris Paul, and Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. And, there was a lot of expectations for them to eventually, they were a really good team, but it was a lot of expectations for them to get over the hump and win the championship. It seems like they never could get there. Jerry West comes in about 2 years, and now the Clippers they changed that. He changes that in like 2 years, like just like that, like no time at all. I knew when he got there. I was like, oh no, here they come. I knew as soon as he got there. I was like,
oh man. Doug Banks out here said the Jerry West Express already coming in, man. Look out, bro.
And like you said, to your point, like the Grizzlies, like if the Grizzlies find a way to win a championship, that's a credit to Jerry West because he laid the foundation for them, for what they are right now.
I keep saying this. I feel like Jerry West is the greatest GM in NBA history. I said because everywhere he's gone, they've won. I said they've won. Everywhere he's been, they've won. I mean, like it's amazing to me. And I said, look what he's done with the Clippers, man. And it's like, look, he was the one that said, remember when the Warriors were trying to trade Klay Thompson to the Timberwolves for Kevin Love? He told front office, don't make that move. He said, don't make that move.
Yep.
Don't make that move.
Yeah, now they tried to trade Stephen Curry as well and build around Monte Ellis, and Jerry West was like,
Remember
no,
that?
no, 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 no. Yep, it was like, nah.
So you still think about that?
Like
Think about that. Look, I mean, look, he
it's
was the one that told them got to trade Blake Griffin, traded DeAndre Jordan, as Zubac from the Lakers. With the Lakers were stupid at getting rid of Zubac, and that's all
dumb,
Magic. I,
dumb.
I keep I keep I keep hating that Magic keep trying to wipe his hands clean, but I'm like, dude, you're not innocent either, man. To be honest, he was part of the
Right.
problem, and now he's trying to take credit for the fact that LeBron and AD. Yeah, you are responsible for LeBron being there, which is what Laker fans are mad at you about. But AD was all Rob
Yep.
Pelinka. That had nothing to do with you, bro. That had nothing to do
Nope.
with you. And like I said,
Nope.
LeBron's got puppet masters in the media, okay? And his ultimate puppet master is Nike, okay? So he's gonna answer with the way they do things. So I'm sorry. So let's just
I
check in
love
the
the
comments. Go ahead, Doug. What you gonna say?
for King G. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, bro.
No
Appreciate the
doubt.
love.
Doug Banks is
Um,
speaking facts, no doubt. LeBron does all the
and
smoke and is an expert at losing chips all the time. Hey, man, he kept his promises. He ain't lose not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but six.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
He's still,
I'm
he,
telling
he's still,
Six.
he's already working on seven.
Yep.
He's working on 7 losses, man. He got 6.
Mhm.
He's working on 7. He got 6. He almost there.
he
He
said
almost
he
there.
wanted to be like Michael, but I don't think I'm not sure this is what he meant. maybe so. I don't know. But what was I getting ready to say? I had lost my train of thought. Help me. I know he's talking about Jerry West, and then
The,
I was getting ready to say something else. Dang it, I forgot.
did it have to do with Jerry West, though?
Sort of kind. It was sort of kind of connections or something, but it was still like on that same plane.
Okay.
Oh no, the Lakers. That's where I was. Okay, there it is. Think of all the players that the Lakers let go of, within the past few years. Now Lonzo Ball, we know he didn't really pan out. So let's get that out of the way. I mean, he's playing better, but he ain't pan out as a second round draft pick. As far as those to be like a transcendent player, and we haven't really seen that out of him yet. Guys like Josh Hart, Lance Stevenson, Lance make you dance, Lance. You let go of him. Brandon Ingram, having a solid season this year. And even without Zion, dropping. I don't know what his scoring average is. I don't know if it's 20. Is it 28 a game or something like that?
Zion,
But he's been putting up numbers.
Brandon's?
Yeah, Brandon Ingram.
It's 25, I believe.
25. Okay, I knew it was around there. Yeah, Brandon Ingram. He dropping 25 a game, and has really his performances has kept the Pelicans up for the playoffs, and at least till Zion got back, and now they're in position to make a run. Who else? I'm trying to think who else it. But yeah. I mean, D'Angelo Russell is another one they let go of. They let go of, and then they got Kyle Kuzma, but they've been trying to trade him multiple times. Last year they tried to trade him. This year they tried to trade him. So, and they're not using him at all right now. So it's like you think of all the players that the Lakers have lost, and you look at the team that they could have had, like they really could have built something completely different from what they got right now. And it's not to say we know the Lakers are still a good team. You have AD, LeBron, and both of them have actually been playing well this year together. The Lakers have the number one record in the West right now, so they're a good team. But I feel like there's what they lost. They could have been so much more than what they are right now. I mean, it seems like everybody that they let go of has gone and elevated their games elsewhere. So it's even Jordan Clarkson, who they let go of. Jordan Clarkson was on the Lakers. Look at what he's doing at Utah. Um, Larry Nance Jr. I know his numbers, but I, I feel like he's had some moments here and there where he's played pretty well with the Cavs. And even when LeBron was there, he seemed to be he seemed to kind of elevate his game a little bit. So you look at, I mean, that's a lot of good solid players they've lost.
Yeah.
Even to an extent, Alonzo Ball could help you because I think he's a solid defender. He could at least help you on that. And I know about his jump shotting. He don't have the best jump shot, but he's at least a guy that could get to the basket from time to time. So I'm not overhyping Lonzo, but he's been solid this year. They could use he's been better than Jared Dudley, so they could use those players right now.
Oh, yeah.
So it's crazy. It's crazy.
And you're still wondering why the Lakers didn't sign Melo but signed Jared Dudley, and he barely has even touched the NBA floor
Right.
to this moment. So we're going to go into the comments real quick. Shout out to Verduni. He says, LeBron can never allow someone like Kuzma to shine because he is a dog. And y'all know how the Lakers fans like dog mama mentality. This could rob LeBron attention. Oh, without question. LeBron is attention seeking. Did you hear the comments that he made about the Astros, about the World Series scandal? And I'm saying to myself, I get that LeBron has an opinion, but it's like, dude, you need to focus on trying to get the Lakers to win a championship. You want to be too involved and you want to be Mr. Everything, man. Everything you want to do, you want to make sure that the spotlight is on you. It's about the Houston Astros, about a baseball team, and you're like, well, I don't play baseball. Like, well, that's obvious. Duh. Only you play basketball.
Right.
But it's like, my thing is, it's like, again, I get that you got an opinion, but it's like he wants to be Mr. Everything. Like, he wants to be involved in everything to make sure. And then that's why these networks continue to talk about him. But yet you have these clowns out here, not just media clowns, but we got fanboy clowns that will continue to say, oh, you're nothing but a hater. He has the right to be entitled to his opinion. I'm like, this is what you guys can't see. Don't you see the method behind his madness? The logic is, if he talks about something, the media is going to make this a topic. And then people get mad and like, why is this even a topic?
Yep.
That's why LeBron, again, is pulling the strings, man. Nike's pulling his strings, and he's pulling the strings of the casuals and the fanboys.
Definitely.
And the media.
Definitely. Yeah, he got him like a puppeteer, like the puppet. It's like a puppet show, man. The LeBron puppet show, man. Like I don't know. LeBron he's got to be one of the greatest ghostwriters ever, man. Because it seems like every time they get on here, I was like, ain't no way you thought about this on your own, man. Like someone is definitely. I'm giving you those lyrics.
I'm like, who writing your material? I'm like, yo, Doug. Let me find out you writing LeBron's material in the background, man. You go try to Bronson. I'm sure Bronx Section will add most All-Star captains ever as a stat watch. Oh, of course. That what's so funny? It's so crazy when I looked at last year, and I want to bring this up. It's so crazy to me how this format of LeBron choosing the players that he gets to play with in this All-Star game is part of the reason why the NBA has been bad. Because if you look at what Adam Silver's doing, and I find this so hilarious that last year's All-Star game, he chose a lot of the players that were going to be free agents. When he chose Kawhi Leonard, he chose Klay Thompson, he chose Kevin Durant. They were going against Steph Curry's team. Actually,
Dame Lillard. I saw that. Yeah, he chose a lot of the guys that he said he wanted to play with.
So that's why when I'm coming back to this comment, and I'm just saying to myself, like, oh yeah, but you want to choose the players you want to play with. And remember, LeBron exposed himself last year when he was with the Lakers. He was saying, like, ask me if I want to play with Dame Lillard. Ask me if I want to play with Kevin Durant. Ask me if I want to play with Giannis. Like, I want to play with all the great players. I'm like, well, it started when you went to South Beach with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, right?
Right.
Play with Kyrie and Kevin Love. I mean, it's like a lot of these All-Stars. And I'm like, look, when DeMarcus Cousins come back, and I said this before, I'm like, y'all going to come out here and talk about how DeMarcus was injured and he didn't really have time to really gel and like get things together. But I'm saying to myself, yeah, I wasn't keeping that same energy when he was in Golden State. He was doing the same exact thing, but it was like, oh, they got 5 all stars. All they needed 4 all stars to be LeBron. Just all this nonsense. Just puppeteer narratives.
Yeah, it's always LeBron that doesn't have enough help. But when you look at the guys that he's played with, man, I mean, Wayne Wade, like you said, Chris Bosh, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, now Anthony Davis, and then he tried to get Kawhi Leonard, KD. I'm like, dang, you gotta get the whole NBA roster, man. Like, goodness,
he tried to get Paul George. He tried to get.
Yeah, I remember that.
Hold on, and didn't the Lakers just try to get Derrick Rose, even though Derrick Rose said that he was not leaving Detroit?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
And Doug,
after feeling stupid.
And Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Derrick Rose having a career season this year? Considering in terms of field goal percentage, he's averaging damn near 25 a game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Rose been balling.
So, and Laker fans are complaining about how Kawhi's getting off these players, but they make it seem like if they got a super team when, I'm sorry, the only other all-star is Paul George? Isn't
right?
And I'm like, wait. I'm like, isn't Derrick Rose a former all-star? And I'm like, you played with him in Cleveland, and I'm like, oh wait, I forgot. He was the youngest MVP in NBA history. You know, the same guy that people keep saying that you shut down when his second best player was Luol Deng on the Chicago Bulls, and Joakim Noah and Carlos Boozer both missed 20 plus games that year.
Not only that, they had Jay Crowder on that same roster as well. They had who's been playing some solid basketball. Who's now with the Miami Heat. Who's going to be interesting.
The pieces they got Jay Crowder, they got Iguodala, and they got Solomon Hill, 3-point shooter, where we can't sleep on. All right, so Jordan, yeah. Jordan says, hitting the like, man, the 04 Pistons, what do you know about them bad boy days? Oh, simple, man. I mean, from the days of Isaiah, man, clamping on Jordan, him, Rodman, Horn, Dumars, Lambeer. Like, I know about all those guys. I know about them bad boys. I saw the games. I mean, and like I said, with the 04 Pistons, man, I respected them a lot because they just went out and played basketball. And this goes back to what Layla was saying. Like the 08 Celtics, they're so petty that these guys are just pretty much these guys are all about narratives. And I'm like, you guys should be grateful that you guys got that one championship. Now, unfortunately, they weren't able to get, 2 to 3 so that they could kind of put themselves in a little bit of a, better ranking in terms of an all-time team.
Right.
But again, I feel like they're so jealous as to some of these players like Steph, what LeBron was able to accomplish when he joined Miami. And KG was talking about the agenda being pushed and all that. He wishes he could have had more, but remember, KG, you wasted most of your years in Minnesota. To be honest, you should have left a long time ago if you wanted to win. KG says, if Bron want to win this year, he needs to mean Kuzma do his thing. I swear he does, or Laker fans will destroy him. It goes back to what Dunn Banks was talking about. You got to find a way, because I really feel like Kuzma can be that third guy. But it's going to take LeBron's leadership. But I've always said I don't feel like LeBron is a leader. He's a falsified leader, in my opinion. And then also, it's like the LeBron James system isn't going to make Kuzma any better. See, that's my thing. Because they keep saying that because if Brandon Ingram is a ball-dominant player, and they're like, well, Kuzma fits in better with LeBron. I was like, but he's inconsistent. And how is LeBron going to help him be a consistent player if his style is to make his numbers look good, even though he leads the league in assists? And I just find it funny that he's averaging lesser points than AD, but he still leads the team in shot attempts, even in the fourth quarter too. I'm just like, that math doesn't make any sense. That's where the excuses be coming in.
He does everything for his teammates.
Yeah, according to him and the media and his fans.
I'm like, yeah, you do everything all right. Hey, teammates, watch me shoot. Hey, teammates, watch me get to the basket. Hey,
Oh,
teammates, watch me watch me dunk
when
it.
when I when I'm in trouble, you got to make the shot with 2 seconds remaining. I'm like, no,
Yep.
man, it's ridiculous. The Clippers failed because they didn't have enough shooters. Oh, that clip. I think he's talking about
You
that
talking
Clippers
about
team before.
yeah.
Got you. Okay, facts. Bronsexuals is a pretty good one. I don't know who came up with the term bronsexuals, but
Yeah, I don't,
it's
it's
pretty.
funny to me.
It's. But you know what? Because with the outlandish comments that the fanboys make from the media to their fans, I mean, it's a fitting name. So Brandon was the worst that we let go of. I mean, considering how he's playing this year, he made an All-Star team. I mean, yeah, it hurts. Um, Layla says, and LBJ did say 7, so he's about to complete his promise of 7. That's right. And MJ 6 accepting losses and not rings. Listen, think about that. If he gets his 7th finals loss, LeBron would have lost 70% of his finals.
That's crazy.
And he'll go from 33 to 30%. He'll go from 33 to 30%. Let that sink in. Oh my God.
Well,
Layla says she almost fell in the tub while trying to type. Oh Lord.
oh no, that's no good. Can't be doing that.
Layla, you better be careful, man. You better be careful.
Trying to
Go
do
just
that.
go.
Trying to do that Red Ron impression.
Yo. Oh man. Whatchamacallit? Let me just keep looking through the comments out here. Yeah, I miss a lot of comments, man. But I mean, Doug Banks again, always speaking facts. Lance Stevenson, Georgia says was the next level ball handler, but he just wanted to start too many fights. I mean, he started it when he was blowing in LeBron's ear, man. What's for sweet nothing? Like, I mean, I still remember the meme they made on Instagram when they showed I think it was, I forgot who it was. But they showed Lance, I think it was blowing the football out of somebody's hands. I forgot what player it was, but
I saw that.
Whatever, it was
saw
funny.
that.
Yeah, Ronnie Hood, Genie Bus, y'all. Let's be yo, King G. I've been saying that for the longest. I said, yo, the woman that puts highlights in her hair, that's all about quote unquote family and being with certain guys. I said, that's your owner of the Lakers. I told you, she has her friends in the organization. I mean, I'm telling you right now. Layla says stunts to grow and makes absolutely nobody better. Those are facts. Who does LeBron make better? Who does he make better? Who? Yo,
his son Brian.
I was one of those people that were fooled, man. Back then when he was playing with Cleveland, I'm like, oh yeah, LeBron, yo, he makes his teammates better, passing the ball. The more that I watch him play in the last 10 seasons, I realized it. I said, yo, who has that dude ever really turned into an all-star? And I just said, nobody. But then they want to call me a hater. Really? I said, who has he made better? Talking Stevenson except Melo World Peace. Right? I don't know if Melo will be doing as good as he is this season if he went to the Lakers. The reason being is because of the LeBron James system. And he probably wouldn't be getting around a lot of minutes because, you know what, people give Luke Walton a lot of flack. And listen, at times I could see it. Luke Walton is not that good when it comes to his rotation. But one thing I give him a lot of credit for that Frank Vogel is not doing for some reason, he knows how to utilize Kuzma. And I wish he really would know how to utilize him. Yeah, he is an attention whore. Yep, it's attention whore. LBJ talking again. Obviously, he learned nothing from that China assessment. Nope, that's all he does, man. I keep telling
you. He does not use the brain. It's like his mouth is set on automatic. like just talk. Like whenever it's a social issue, talk.
It goes back with the old saying, man. He writes checks that his ass can't cash. That's what he's doing right now, man.
Yep.
She knows that she's just there for business. Oh yeah, she does it for business. And Tomoko, once again with the random comment. I swear, man, my streams be live anytime Tomoko's in here. Always coming with them random joints, man. Shout out to Tomoko though. The media and LBJ agreed to drama for more content on ESPN and GOAT debates. Oh yeah, you already know. That Rachel Nichols, man, I'm telling you. I can't
Man,
stand her.
I don't, yeah. She be lying just to lie for no, just because.
This is the same woman who said she voted for Klay Thompson to make an all-defensive team, and she never voted for the guy, so she lied. Number two,
Yep.
she also was talking, listen, she talked about how her and Kobe were young and this and all that. I said, but lady, you're one of the people that have been bashing Kobe on ESPN. That's why I said I can't take her seriously either. No matter how many interactions she had with Kobe, and she talks about how many interactions that, how she talks about Kobe and his daughters and all that. She's one of the people that have criticized him on the regular on ESPN, and I cannot take her seriously for that. I don't care what anybody says. This is not me going at Rachel as a woman because she's a woman. No, it's talking about how you do your job and how you position your opinions. And I'm sorry, but the way you position your opinions, you're not fooling me, girl. No, exactly. Thank you, LeBron. We get it. You're rich and good at basketball. Answer this question too. Why is it that LeBron has not showed up to go see Laura Ingraham, the same woman? And listen, I don't like Laura Ingraham by any means necessary, but she told him if she would like to debate politics that he should come, and because he says he's not going to shut up and dribble, but yet I've still not seen LeBron make a public appearance on one of these politics shows. So does he really know what he's talking about? But he wants to be in everything.
Yeah. I would love to see that.
I would love it too. Why hasn't LeBron showed up on ESPN? Also, I keep saying this before. When LeBron's home was quote unquote vandalized in Brentwood, why hasn't that racial host ever been brought up again? And that was right before the finals started when KD first came to the Warriors in the 2017 finals. I find it funny. No one has ever brought that back up. Ever since that situation happened and they said LeBron's home was racially
it was like
vandalized,
a one-time story.
And it quickly disappeared like nothing. And I told you, it was the media stage for an excuse if LeBron were to win. Oh, look what LeBron had to had to overcome. I mean, he did it last year coming from 3-1 to beat the Golden State Warriors. I mean, and listen, let me put this to rest too, before I let Dove Banks speak again. If people want to talk about how LeBron should have 2 championships for coming back 3-1 and for the 2015 without having Kyrie and Kevin Love, let me put this into proper perspective. Yeah, you could say that LeBron didn't have Kyrie and Kevin Love and they pushed the Warriors to 6 games, but are people forgetting that was the Warriors' first time in the NBA Finals and the fact that they weren't predicted to go there. They weren't predicted to go there, which is what I keep saying, number one. Number two, the Cleveland Cavaliers were fully healthy in 2016 with Kyrie and with Kevin Love by the time the final started. It was the Warriors this time around that had injuries. I'm not giving the Warriors any excuses. They lost plain and simple, which is why I keep saying that their championships offset each other. Where the disadvantage happened with Cleveland was in 2017 and 2018. But even 2017, they could have been competitive. They just chose not to play defense. A lot of excuse making. There was poor leadership. And I keep saying that the championships offset each other because Cleveland was healthy. And if you look at the body language of Cleveland, they had no business being down 3-1 to Golden State. Because I tell you right now, if we play a game of pickup, am I going to choose Steph, Clay, and Draymond, or am I going to go with LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love? I'm going with LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love, and I would take my chances with them. I would. I honestly would.
I agree.
With them.
I agree.
As great as Curry and Clay and Dre are. And I don't want to go here. You could easily argue that there's some hot calling, kettleback logic going on in regards to cheating, especially coming from LeBron. You really want to go there? Exactly, because LeBron, didn't you get a hand-gifted 2016 stimulus package championship? But we not.
Man, I was just thinking about that today. That health package, man.
Thank you, Lowly. Thank you. Shout out to Lowly One for the comment. Didn't your ass get a 2016 hand-gifted gift wrap championship from Amazon.com from coming back from 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors?
Man. Yeah, Santa came through on that wish list, man.
But you here talking about cheating? You talking about cheating? Especially when he coming out and saying, I'll be upset if somebody robs me of a championship. Yeah. Yeah. You should, and I said, yo, LeBron, you should be, listen, man. I'm not saying you don't got a right to opinion, but as if your opinion got to make sense. You want to be involved in you talking about cheating, you should be the last to be talking about cheating, bro. You should be the last. Getting Draymond suspended.
That champ. I'm saying that championship, and it's kind of. I ain't gonna use the word karma because I don't believe in karma, but I do believe in reaping what you sow. That championship that championship saved his legacy and hurt his legacy at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Because the Warriors lost that championship, that made it easier for KD to make that decision to join them. Because KD came out on record and said, like, if the Warriors would have won in 2016, I probably wouldn't have joined them. But because the Warriors lost in 2016, it made it easier for KD to join them. And then the Warriors, obviously, they're a different team, more dominant. And they win the next two titles, and LeBron has two more championship losses on his resume now because of that. So like he won that championship, but it came with a cost. you lose in 5 the very next year, and then you get swept the year after that.
So Doug Banks, what you're basically saying is that LeBron, by him trying to control the narrative and getting Draymond suspended and doing this whole thing of coming back from 3-1, Andrew Bogut gets injured. Are you basically saying that his one championship cost him 2 more the very next year? So it's basically what you're saying. It was a gift and a curse.
Yep. Yeah, that's basically. Yep.
So in other words, LeBron James pretty much traded his one championship to lose 2. All right, go ahead. What was you gonna say?
Yeah. I was gonna say it was a pyrrhic victory. That's what I would call it. A pyrrhic victory. You lost more than you gained.
You also notice that when you look at his NBA Finals career, this is a guy who got swept twice. This is a guy who got gentlemen swept twice. This is a guy who lost in 6 games twice. 2-2-2. The only thing that he has to lose is to lose in a 7-game series in an NBA Finals. And he would have lost in 4, in 5, in 6, and in 7. And that would equate, and it's funny because if he loses in a 7-game series in the finals, that would equate to his 7th loss in the NBA Finals. And like Layla says, most forced trades in NBA history, this brother has been part of 45 trades. 45 trades. 45 trades. That's more than any superstar in NBA history. And all of that to be 3-6 in the finals? 3 for 9? 3 for 9? 33% NBA Finals average? I'm sorry. You stacked the deck. Go ahead, Doug.
And I was going to say the other thing was those 2 championships that he lost in 6, they were favored to win both of those. Like, I think Cleveland was the slight favorites to beat the Warriors in that championship. And then we know the Miami Heat were the favorites to beat the Dallas Mavericks. So they basically, he lost twice when he was the favorite to win the title. 2 teams that were basically underdogs.
But remember,
and both. Let me finish real quick. And then both teams between the Dallas Mavs and the Warriors, they were very similar. They didn't have like overly like a whole lot of star power, but they were like complete teams. They had a good bench. They had veterans both had veterans on their roster. They both played. They had really good team chemistry. They shared the ball, and they both had shooters. Obviously, Steph being one of the top, but even the Dallas Mavs had guys like Jason Kidd hitting threes, and the Jet, hit knocking down shots when they needed him to knock down shots. So I was just bringing like the parallel between those 2 championships. It's kind of the same story.
You know what I just thought about?
Kind of thing.
No, I got you. No, and I agree with you. You know what I just thought about, Doug? Now that you was mentioning all that, it doesn't even help the fact that LeBron's been outplayed by 3 role players in the NBA Finals in 3 of his 6 and half of his 6 NBA Finals losses. On top of the fact that in his 6 NBA Finals losses, all of the teams that he's gone up against, most of those teams, I believe, let's see, if we count the Warriors for 2015, 2017, 2018, the 2011 Dallas Mavericks, the 2014 San Antonio Spurs. 5 of those 6 teams were tops in the league in three-point shooting, at least in the top 10. So LeBron's lost to very good three-point shooting teams, along with the fact that they all play a great system and they all were deep as well. So, and he tried his LeBron James system against deep teams, and I keep telling you that that's not going to work against teams that have a lot of depth and they play system basketball. It's good team basketball. See, but they don't want to let that. See, you tell this in front of the fanboys, but they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. All they want to do is make.
They lose it when you tell them that. Oh, you just a hater. That's all they. You just a hater. But which goes to modern day, where where LeBron's on the Lakers and you got this Clippers team who is really deep, who they have shooters. Not only do they have shooters, they have defenders. They have elite perimeter defenders. A guy like Paul George, if he could stay healthy, he's a solid perimeter defender. Someone you could throw at LeBron. Kawhi Leonard, we know he's one of the best two-way players in the game. And not only can he lock down LeBron, we see him lock down a Giannis Antetokounmpo in a playoff series. So we know what he can do defensively. He's one of the top defenders in the game. And a guy like Pat Beverly, who at times when has guarded LeBron, has locked LeBron down in certain, not for a complete game, but in certain instances here and there. We've seen him like at the very end of the game, the last time they played, he blocks LeBron's shot. And I agree. He probably should have posted him up, but LeBron doesn't post up nobody for no reason. I don't know why. That's weird to me. When you got someone that's undersized on you, you don't post them up. But that's another conversation. But saying is, the Clippers are deep. They got solid defenders and they got shooters. And so, with the Lakers, what they have, which they have a shooter, and they have players that they could use, but they're not. You know that's going to have a impact come playoff time because you're not giving them minutes. You haven't really got them in rotation. So this does not bode well for the Lakers. This goes back to this is why me and Luz are saying what we're saying about LeBron and the Lakers not beating the Clippers in a 7-game series. And I'm going to say that even if Paul George were to miss a few games, I ain't gonna say the whole series, but like if Paul George were to sit out for a couple games, if he had like an ankle injury or something like that, I think the Clippers would still beat the Lakers in at least 7, because of how deep they are and their ability to defend. And like I said, they got shooters. Not only do they have shooters, they got guys like a Reggie Jackson who they just picked up that can create and get their own shot. So
right.
For y'all who are saying, "Hey, I'm riding with my Lakers and go Lakers," and I respect your fanhood, but you got to understand basketball and respect reality too. They are in for a rude awakening. They see the Clippers in the playoffs, especially if from what I've been hearing, I think the Clippers wouldn't mind seeing the Lakers in the first round. So, like the Clippers are messing around, drop down a few spots just to play Lakers in the first round. It ain't gonna be nothing nice. I'm just telling you right now, it ain't gonna be what you think. You've already got a sample of the games that they played so far, especially one of them without Paul George, and the Lakers still couldn't get the job done. And that was a team that wasn't as deep.
Right, and Doug, let's not forget, they still got a roster spot.
Yep,
they
right.
Still got a roster spot. So if they could get themselves a big man, and all of a sudden, they get that rim protecting big man that they need. I wonder what the fanboys in the media are going to say now. So that's important. That's important to find out. So who can they fill in that roster spot? We're gonna see. Loli says teammates want to choke. Yep. Keep smashing that like. Exactly, guys. Keep smashing that like, man. I'm looking forward to 7. I'm looking forward to 7 too. I'm telling you, it's like he makes it really hard for me to want to cheer for him and appreciate, the great player that he is. LeBron makes it that difficult because he wants to control narratives. He continues to lie on a lot of stuff that he says. He's not true and honest to himself. And the thing is, he exposes himself and he doesn't even realize it. That's what's really bad. Maybe he does realize it, but he doesn't care. But it's just really
So
stupid.
sad.
It's really sad. He makes people better, but he needs more help. How does that work? Good question, lowly one. And exactly, LeBron ain't no expert in politics. He doesn't know squat.
Nope.
It was a straight hoax. The problem is the
Pretty
fanboys
much, yeah.
the fanboys don't know that. That's why they defend him to the T every time. I don't get why players give her an interview when they know she changes all the statements of players. Also, LeBron James activated shut up and dribbling mode. Facts. He activated playoff mode. Y'all forgot that? Oh yeah. When did you ever hear Jordan? Listen, whether Jordan had a great team or not, whether Kobe had a great team or not, when did you ever hear those guys say, well, I just activated playoff mode? Really? He's got to really listen to himself talk, man. It's ridiculous.
Right. Although I would say that if Jordan were to say that, I wouldn't even be mad. Like, well, he would never say it, but I'd be like, okay, yeah. if anyone has the right to say that, it'd be Jordan. That's all.
Because at least Jordan proves it, man. He proves it, and Jordan wasn't about talk, man. He was about the action. I told you, man. LeBron is all bark and no bite. Exactly. Everything is about finger pointing, man. Like Layla says, man. And I agree with low key. I would never choose the LeBron system. Never. I was just about to ask that question about the blacktop. Put LeBron and Kyrie love basketball. Curry, Clay, and Draymond. Who you really picking in the game of 21? You dumb if you don't pick Bron. Exactly. That's why I said I don't want to hear that excuse about 2016 and they're talking about how they came out. JR never gets the credit for that block that LeBron got when he slowed down Iguodala. He forced him to change the shooting motion on that layup, which caused if take JR out of that play, LeBron's not blocking that shot. And even if he were to miss it, like LeBron's not getting that. KD was gonna join the Cavs. Yeah, he was. I remember that. He was Cleveland was supposed to be one of his destinations. But he said he liked the Warriors too much and he loved the way their style of play, man. So that's why he went over there. But he was supposed to be there. Exactly. Look at that. Almost 50 trades, bro. A superstar with almost 50 trades. And he's gone to 3 different teams. I don't want to hear that. Right here. Low key says it right here. How you a superstar and you get swept twice? First of all, you lose twice, swept, and you got gentlemen swept twice. And you lost in 6 games twice. Listen to yourself, man. Who is the next dynasty for y'all? It's tough to say, man. I'm looking at that Milwaukee team as that they could be possibly the next one. Don't sleep on the Dallas Mavericks. They might be the next one. With Porzingis and Luka Doncic. I'm looking at. I mean, those are probably the only 2 teams that I can think of right now. I mean, I would love to see the Nuggets if they can get if the Nuggets were to get a superstar, I could pick them next because they're very young. But they need a go-to player. That's a problem. Let me see. Jason Terry, Kawhi, and Iggy, 3 role players who made LeBron lose the final. Thank you. Like, especially with Jason Terry, you were the favorites against the Dallas Mavericks, and you got outplayed by Jason Terry, and he slightly had a better scoring average than you did in the NBA Finals. As a matter of fact, Chris Bosh had a slightly higher NBA Finals average than you in that 6-game series. And like I said before, and I'll say it again, I didn't even see this before. But do you personally think, Doug Banks, that LeBron stunk up the joint so that Dwayne Wade did not get Finals MVP? Because you know what the stigma would have, what the same would have been said had Dwayne Wade won Finals MVP. Go ahead.
All right, let me blow my nose real quick.
No doubt.
Yeah, I got. Oh man, sorry about that.
Sorry, man.
This weather, man, it's been crazy. But it's an interesting. I've heard y'all on the shout out to He Knows His Sport. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel as well. But I've heard on his stream talk about it, like how he basically and I never heard this perspective before. Fired up, how he basically just underperformed intentionally because like if they were to win, D Wade would have got MVP, which he was. Let's face it, he was the best player on the team of the Miami Heat at that time. Never thought about it before, but knowing LeBron, it makes sense to me because LeBron doesn't like anything that takes attention away from him, and I think D Wade knew this. This is why he basically said, "I'll take the number 2 role, so that we can get some championships, so we don't have to keep dealing with this every year." So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that was his intentions, from the get go, coming into the finals against the Mavs, a team that they were more than capable of beating. LeBron has no business getting locked down by JJ Barea. I do remember JJ Barea is like everybody talks about, Matthew Dellavedova, being the Curry stopper or whatever, which was only for a game and a half. That was overhyped. But JJ Barea basically locked down LeBron for that whole series. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously he wasn't the primary guy that guarded LeBron, but for most of that series, he was giving LeBron problems. Him and I can't remember who else was guarding LeBron.
JJ's not even 6 feet tall. Jason Kidd guarded him. Jason Kidd guarded him. Sean Marion guarded him. Deshaun Stevenson guarded him.
That's who it was. Yeah. And LeBron couldn't do nothing with them when they basically they was guarding him. They basically reduced LeBron to a perimeter shooter, and so which and I know LeBron's been known to kind of shy in big moments here and there. He hasn't been consistent at all. I mean, the record should prove that. But I mean, you have a JJ Barea on you, man. Like, and you're like 6'8", 3. Like, if this was a regular season, I know he's putting JJ Barea in the post at least. I know he's getting to the basket, things of that nature. I mean, these are things that he could have done at will against some of those guys that were guarding him, especially Jason Kidd. So it didn't make sense, when he got in those situations, not to take advantage of those moments. Right. And we've seen this from LeBron, time and time again in the finals, and it's inexplicable. It really is. It's one thing to be taken out of your game, but it's a whole another thing to where you have opportunities to play your game and you just don't do it. And I've seen LeBron where he's had opportunities to get to the basket, which is a strength. His game his game is when he's in the paint, that's where he thrives. When he's getting to the basket, where he's getting layups. And obviously the free throw line isn't his strength, but when he's getting those contested shots to the basket, that's where he can at the very least find the rhythm. And then it even helps his shooting because he's more of a confident player when he can do what he does in the paint. And so it's inexplicable to see the opportunities that he's had to do some of the things that he does. And he just, time and time again, and the Mavericks is an example of this. He fails to rise up to the occasion, and so, Dwayne Wade was the best player on that team, and like I said, I remember watching a Cleveland Cavs game, and I think LeBron had an injury or something. He was out for a game or something. I don't know if he was resting or whatever, and Kyrie had took over that game and they won. And this might have been amid the Kyrie Irving trade rumors because when he was on the sidelines not celebrating at all. When they was winning, like Kyrie had took over and he was scoring, getting buckets and had led that team to win. LeBron didn't celebrate at all. Everybody else was cheering and he just didn't like it. So, but I think that might have been around, like I said, right around when they was trying to trade Kyrie too. So I think that may have something to do with it. But anything that takes away from LeBron, being the centerpiece, he just doesn't like it. Even if he'll lose a championship, if that means that if that means he's not the face of it, he doesn't care. Like LeBron is about himself. Anything that that can promote him, he's going to take advantage of those opportunities. This is why you see him at his son's game doing dunks and stuff like that, warm ups before his son plays. And nothing against him as a parent. I think he loves his kids. I think he does a lot for his kids and
Hmm.
make sure that they're successful. And
Right.
I'll commend him for when he stood up for Bronny when a guy in the crowd threw some stuff at him and speaking out on that situation. Any parent would do that. So no gripes there. I salute him for doing that. But like stuff like dunking at a high school game, that your son's supposed to play in, like you know the kind of figure you are. You know that you are widely covered. You know that any little thing you do is going to become a story,
Right.
and so it, they're going to make a narrative out of you tying your shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like if you could make up a stat, they'll say you're the fastest person to tie your shoes since Michael Jordan or something like that. Like that's just that's just how the media is. So you know these things, but yet LeBron has insisted throughout time, and with social media, that's made it worse. With him getting a social media account, that's made it way worse because he takes that to the highest level he could take it. Especially with the Taco Tuesday memes that he used to do until someone made fun of him about it, saying the same thing, and then he talked about somebody's girl. Like, well, you the one that wanted to draw attention to yourself with that nonsense. So that's really on you. So it, it's who LeBron's been. It wouldn't surprise me at
Yeah, I
all
mean,
if he
and
did that.
yeah, and it goes back to what shout out to he knows the sport, as LeBron says, he is a class A narcissist. If the attention he doesn't want the attention when he loses. It's when he wins. He wants to make sure that he gets all the credit. So your team can do a great job in helping you win and pick you up if you had a bad game, but the media is going to make sure that you get all the credit in the world because that's what LeBron wants at the end of the day. So when he loses, oh, that I wasn't a part of that. You can't blame me. I did everything I could. Like, I mean,
Yep.
this
Yeah,
guy's the
he
same.
separates himself.
Yeah, he separates himself from the team all of a sudden. All of a sudden, he's not part of the team. I mean, this is the same guy who was gloating to the media that he's averaging a triple double in the 2017 NBA Finals against the Warriors. Going up against KD, Steph, and them boys. He was bragging about how much he was averaging a triple double, and I'm like, well, what does that matter if you're losing right now? Like triple double should be the first thing from your mind, man. It's like your numbers should be trying to impact the game in terms of winning. Like that's what it's about, winning and
Exactly.
losing. You're losing right now, but you only care about that. Oh, I'm doing what I'm doing, but what about the rest of the guys? And I'm just like, and that's why I said that LeBron, he came into the league, had me thinking that he's an alpha. But what he's displayed in these last 9 years is he's really been a beta this entire time. He's not an alpha because
Yep.
an alpha doesn't do things like that.
No.
Yeah, you hold your team.
No.
You hold your teammates accountable. But the thing is, most importantly, you hold yourself accountable. And LeBron doesn't do that. He just gives off this speech like he does it so that he just says these things so that the media can say, "Oh, LeBron is always saying the right things." But he's playing a game with the media, and he's playing a game with you brainwashed fans out there. He doesn't say what he means, and he knows it. It's just he's saying this stuff because he could get away with it because knowing that he's got the media in his back pocket because they're gonna protect him no matter what. But my thing is, are they gonna protect him, especially Laker fans, if he doesn't win a championship? Now that's why it's gonna be crucial. You fam? All right, so King G says the worst fanboy who's worse than Nick Wright, worse than Shannon Sharp, worse than Chris Broussard, or who I like to call Chris Fulsard, is of the dummy Cash Nasty. Have y'all seen his arguments with Bron and Jordan? No. Does he have a YouTube account? If you do, King G, put that link in there, man. I'll probably have to check him out after the stream. Robert Dooney says the Clippers have a system. That's why they're going to beat the Lakers and LeBron, because LeBron doesn't do well with team system and high IQ. I've always said that. That's how LeBron is lost. I told you, individual IQ cannot beat team IQ. It can't do that. Shout out to Arnis, man, one of my loyal subs. He says, Andre Iguodala, he couldn't even dunk after the lower back injury in Game 5. Oh yeah, that's a given. That's a given. I remember the back spasms he suffered. So much bad luck had to happen to that 2016 Golden State Warrior team for them to lose the championship the way they did in 7 games. That was the worst kind of luck. Because the thing is, at least with Kevin Love, he got injured in the first round. All of the things that happened to Golden State happened in the finals. And with Steph Curry, his ankle injury and his MCL injury happened in the first round against the Rockets.
Yep.
So that didn't even come even mention that. All right. So what up? Shout out to artists in the building, man. What up? Layla says, get that. Oh, she said, get that phlegm out, Doug. But I think she was talking about the time you were sneezing.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
it was like
man.
because of this weather, bro.
This what I've been. My energy been different lately too, man. I just been like it's been weird here. I'm in North Carolina, so like 1 week it's been cold. It seemed like it's gonna snow. Like it's supposed to snow tomorrow, but then
Wow.
the next week it'd be like 60 degrees, 65, 70. Sunny. Like
Right.
nothing happened.
Yeah.
So
And
that's what we've been dealing with here.
right. Yep. And he says, he says, hi, Layla. JJ Pereira says, he's 5'7", like he's that tiny. I think he's 5'6". He could be 5'6" though. 5'7", 5'7" could be generous. King G says, Chronicles of Judah 44 exposes the also you okay. Exposes LeBron as well in his sick fan base. I actually am subscribed to Chronicles of Judah, and
I've watched some of his stuff.
yeah, he has some really good stuff, and yeah, he does expose LeBron in the fan base. But his channel, from what I've seen, from the couple of things I've seen, he really dives deep into detail, a lot of topics, and it's mostly be dealing with he talks about racism. He'll talk about, he talks about a lot of things that are going on in society. So his is like a more, he does talk about sports, obviously, like with baseball, football, mostly, and with basketball. But he also like dives into a lot of he pretty much talks about like life in society, especially within the black community. But I do like his channel a lot. And if you guys make sure you guys go subscribe to Chronicles of Judah too, man, because he really tells a lot of deep stuff and you can learn a lot. Tomoko says out of boxing, football, and basketball, which one is your favorite? Lewis, first love, basketball. Second love is baseball. Football, I kind of got in. When it comes to football, I'm kind of a late bloomer. I kind of got into football like in the early 2000s, into the early 2000s. And then what I would do is I would watch a lot of like classic games. So getting to know all these players, so it took me a while to learn with players like Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly and, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Dwight Clark, Roger Craig, like Earl Campbell.
Shout out to Roger Craig.
Yo, that dude should be in the Hall of Fame. Like, I don't get how a fullback like him is not in the Hall of Fame with the numbers he was putting up in the 80s with Joe Montana and that West Coast offense with Bill Walsh. I don't understand it. I really don't get it. Like, he should be in the Hall of Fame, considering that he was a fullback doing some of the things that he was doing at that time. He was the combination of a running back with a wide receiver, kind of like playing the tight end. It was like he was doing all three, and he was great at blocking too. Roger Craig doesn't get enough credit, man. Yeah. That dude should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, see, I'm from Nebraska, so I remember watching a lot of Roger Craig's, like some of his older games when he played under Tom Osborne.
Nice.
With the triple option. The thing about Roger Craig, the crazy thing is he wasn't a starter. He came in behind Mike Rozier. Mike Rozier was Nebraska's top running back at the time. He had actually won the Heisman, and so Roger Craig kind of got his start when in the '84 championship against Miami, and Mike Rozier had went out with an injury, and that's when Roger Craig came in and basically took up like that. That was his start. That was his introduction, basically, and from there he just kind of took off.
Right.
And so a lot. So
yep. And so football, which I watch a lot more now. So and I love football. And then you have boxing. I've been like on and off with boxing, but I've kind of recently got back. I can't wait for Saturday's fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. So I'm definitely gonna stay tuned for that. That's gonna be.
I do want to see that fight.
And I can't wait for that fight. And I got Deontay winning this time around. I think you're gonna see a more focused Deontay. I mean, hopefully he picks up some skills from their last fight, because I felt like Tyson Fury outboxed him in that last fight. And I mean, he did score that knockdown on Tyson Fury. I believe he took him down twice, but it ended up being a draw. So hopefully, and I picked Deontay to win. So hopefully he can. Yeah, he's high level. Yep, no doubt. It's a very good channel. Yep. Yeah, he's a great channel, not just for the so-called black man allegedly, but for the young men in general. No, I agree. Dope show, man. I'm gonna head out. Salute. All right. Salute, low key T. Appreciate you, man. No doubt, man. Facts, King. Judah exposes all these Luciferian athletes. Yeah, they are, man, to be honest with you. I mean, if you really want to say the truth, it's true. Like, a lot of these guys sell their soul for riches. I mean, he really goes really deep. I mean, I don't really do that on my channel. I just pretty much I just talk sports and the basketball, but I know it's a lot deeper. So, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and deny it. Yep. Yeah, Chronicles is fire, no doubt. Allegedly, yep, allegedly. So that means no one likes soccer. He loves using that word. So that means no one likes soccer or football in this building. Soccer is a great sport. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of soccer, but I know soccer is the most popular sport, to be honest with you. Most popular world sport. So there's a lot of people who like it. It's hard for me to sit and watch a soccer match. That's just me. Like, it's hard for me then. All right, so we're gonna end it with this. Gonna end this with this last topic, and All-Star Weekend, man. What do you think? The All-Star game for me, I think the fourth quarter was probably as good as it's been in a long time. I'm going to say that. When it came to some people didn't like the All-Star Weekend. I actually thought that it was actually one of the better weekends that it's been in a long time when you consider all the events, including the All-Star game. Just quickly, man, what were your thoughts about this past All-Star Weekend, man? Do you feel like there's some things that could still need some changing? Me personally, I still think so. But how did you feel about All-Star Weekend? And like, is there any like kind of contest that you feel like needs changing, or like what should be something that should be removed and that you should kind of pretty much add back? Like, what would you do? Like, so how do you feel about All-Star Weekend? And then, is there any type of tweaking that it needs for it to be pretty popular to watch? Again.
Yeah. I was on. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch all of All-Star Weekend. I was able to catch like certain events here and there. So I would say the dunk contest. It was a great dunk contest, but as far as how it's being judged, I think that part needs to be changed like big time, because and I actually heard you, and he knows kind of covering it on his channel. I think some of the dunks were a little overhyped. They were hyping them a little too high. I think we need better just a little too much biased in the judging panel. You could tell that, like, for example, you could tell like Dwayne Wade was favoring the guy from Miami Heat all because of his ties to Miami. Like, it was so obvious. So I think.
And hold on a second. I don't mean to. Yeah, I don't mean to stop. I don't mean to cut you off, because the reason is you just brought me Dwayne Wade. It just like pissed me off when I heard that name, because like this dude made the absolute worst excuse that you can ever make as to why he gave a 9 to Aaron Gordon. His excuse was that I was not the only judge that gave 9s. And you know what so really pissed me off is when Common came out and said Dwayne Wade was supposed to give Aaron Gordon a 10, and then Dwayne Wade said we would have had to pick a winner. Duh. That's that's what you do with a dunk contest. You pick a winner. but somehow he talking about, oh, Candace Parker gave us, it was Scottie Pippen and Mr. Wakanda, Chadwick Boseman, but Dwayne Wade, you were supposed to give it 10. So Common said somebody messed up, and he exposed your ass because you were the one that messed up, because you were supposed to give that 10. So pretty much, Eric Gordon got robbed, man.
Yep.
Eric Gordon got robbed.
I agree. That dunk over Taco Fall should have sealed it. I mean, Taco Fall was like dang near 8 foot.
They were saying that dunk was like way more overrated. You mean more overrated than when Blake Griffin jumped over the hood of the car in that 2011 dunk contest?
Right.
Get out of here.
Right.
Get out of here. I remember Kenny Smith hyped that joint so much, and I'm like, oh, big deal. He jumped in front of the hood of the car. I thought he did some joint like Kobe, where Kobe jumped over Aston Martin while that joint was still coming at full speed. I'm like, that was more impressive than what Blake Griffin did. Get out of here. And he jumped.
I tell you, yeah, I tell you one thing. Kenny Smith, man, he can sell. He can sell you, man. He can sell raisins to grapes, man. Like that's how good he is as a seller, man. Like if you listen to like any game or anything with Kenny Smith covering it, man, you would think it's the best thing on earth, and then you go back and watch like, man, oh, it really wasn't that. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't really as I thought it was. Like Kenny Smith, he know how to get you hyped up.
No, that's facts.
He get y'all. Oh man, did you see that dunk? I couldn't believe it. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's a 50. That's a 50.
I kept looking at some of these dunks and I'm like, okay, that's like a 46. Maybe that was a 47. No, Kenny's like, oh no, that's a 50. I mean, you jump over Taco Fall. That's a 50. That's a 50. Like, I'm like, yeah, but I think Blake got a 50 for dunking over that hood of that car, which was ridiculous, man. First of all, Taco Fall is 7'5".
Over. It got him an endorsement deal.
Right. Exactly. Let me see. 2018 finals. He's lying. I played with a broken hand. Oh yeah, when he told the media that he was playing with a broken hand, the media even knew about the excuses after game one. That's the crazy part that nobody wants to talk about. That's why if y'all check out the video that I put out of him, pretty much talking about, and you hear that guy talking about the whole hand injury excuse that he used throughout the 4 games against the Warriors. And people kind of got mad because I put the video. I'm like, y'all acting like if I'm talking about this. I said, this is well documented. I said, this is a guy breaking down the entire series from his quote unquote hand injury that he had. You had a bruise, but you ain't break your damn hand. You bounce it off the backboard and you dunk it with 2 hands.
Right. Like, I remember that.
Oh, he was getting fouls with his left hand. I said, but you was dabbing your sons with your right hand. So I'm like, you still expose yourself, dude. Like, come on, man. You can't fool me. You can fool your fans. You can fool the medias, but you cannot fool people like Doug Banks and myself and people in the chat, man, out here in these NBA streets. Let's see the buffoonery and the narrative for what it is. Come on, man.
X-ray vision. Yeah, we see right through it.
I lost respect for LeBron, right? I mean, with any little respect I have for LeBron, I lost it after that. I'm sorry. Like, that's why I said I'm not going to look at him the same. You can't.
Yeah. I was going to say I had lost a lot of it when he went to Miami. So, like, just the way that whole situation was handled, you know, I had pretty much lost.
The thing was that I learned to respect it, you know, when LeBron won his first ring and just how aggressive he was. I was saying to myself, okay, maybe LeBron is now turning the corner and then, you know, he's probably going to be a nice, scary LeBron. But then I see 2014 and I'm just like, yo, I don't know. And then 2018 happens and then I see this nonsense. I mean, 2016 was nonsense. 2017 was nonsense. I mean, and then just the last season before he went to LA, I'm just like, this is just pure nonsense. I'm like, and you just made it worse. Like, you really came out here making excuses, man.
And that team had no business getting swept. You know, like they were pretty much in every game, in every game of that series. You know, even after game one, they like when the game two the game that Curry got hot and hit 9 threes or whatever, which was insane. But
People,
like Cleveland had, Cleveland had actually came back in that game. They had cut it down to like 6 points or something. Like it was like 6 or 8 points, whatever. But they had actually came back in that game. That's why Curry had to get going. And I got it. But LeBron was the main constant. He was the one that's not showing up. He just checked out the game once and said, whatever, I'm done.
listen.
So his team kept playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, I understand that the Cavs were not going to win the series in 2017 and 2018, but people forget that in 2017, the Cavs were in the game early. It's just the Warriors pulled away in the third quarter. People forget that in game two, that the Cavaliers only throw that three at the half. It was 64-61. I remember that before the Warriors kind of blew it open. And then in game three, it came down to the critical plays in like those last 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. And remember, Cleveland had they had a 5-point lead,
Yep.
7-point lead. People forget that. When J.R. Smith hit that
Yep.
three-pointer, they were up 7.
I was going to say, yeah, and this was with Durant going. Like he was cooking like fish grease, wasn't missing anything. And Cleveland still had the lead literally going to like the final moments of the fourth quarter. And LeBron was ultra passive. I wouldn't even say extreme, ultra passive. Like had a Stephen Curry on him, who does some good things on defense, but we all know he's not an elite defender. And he's deferring with Stephen Curry on him, and like that told me what I need to know right there. I was like, dude, like man,
it's ridiculous, man. And it's like, and it's crazy because Doug, you mentioned that like the 3 games were like very competitive, and you saw game 4, you knew the BS. That very next game when they got 22 foul attempts in the first quarter, I knew they was rigging that game because the Cavs really should have gotten swept at that point. But it was like, no, we're gonna let.
Oh yeah,
I said we're gonna give
17, yeah.
So we're gonna give
that
them
was
one
crazy.
more game.
There was like 7 technicals in that game too. I think.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
Yeah, and like you was mentioning in 2018, they was pretty much in every game, and they just got swept. Fourth quarter in game 4, it was really the first 3 games because in game 4 they pretty much blew it open, and then LeBron just pretty much quit at that point because the Warriors won by double digits in that game, and that's when Curry had 37. And to me, his 11-point performance in game 3 ruined his chance of getting the Finals MVP because if you look at the 3 games, he actually shot the ball well enough to win.
Yeah.
But that game 3 performance killed his chances at winning the MVP.
And what's funny was I would equate that to like the Kevin Durant performance in the finals last year. I mean, obviously KD got hurt, 2 totally different situations. KD was actually going, he would have had way more than 13. But I'm saying like in the sense that Curry's 11, all those just 11 points, his points had impact because it actually helped, the team gain because a lot it was like at least 7 of those points came in like the last 2.5 minutes of the fourth quarter. And so even KD said that like the shots that Curry did hit actually gave the team confidence to close out. Like, because for a while, even with KD going, it was still like a tight game. You didn't know who was gonna win. Curry's shots helped to swing the momentum to the Warriors side. They're like, oh, okay, we can win this. And so that may also, we know about the KD buzzer beater, which was a killer shot. But like some of the things that Curry did in that game, like he doesn't. I don't think he got enough credit for what he did contribute in that game, even though it was a bad game for Curry. It wasn't his best game, but he did contribute. He did have like 10 assists or something like that, 10 or 11 assists or something like that point. Yeah. He still was a contributor in game 3. He just didn't play like he played the other 3 games, which was like he was dropping 30 something here, 28 here. Actually game 1 he had like, what was it, 27, 28, and even though he didn't score in overtime, he was creating for his team. So like he played a good finals that year. And I thought he at least should have been considered for Cole Finals MVP, my opinion. At least that.
I mean, it was possible. I think if Curry would have scored kind of like, if he would have gotten like 20 points at the very least, I think he would have
Yeah,
had another 20-point game. I think he would have gotten co-finals MVP with Kevin Durant. It's just unfortunately for him that Kevin Durant, if you look at his numbers, he had 50, 40, 90 in back-to-back NBA finals. And you know that.
yeah. That's tough to go. You can't argue with that.
So they were just going to look at it that way because, and it's because he's LeBron's contemporary at the small forward position. So it was kind of like if Curry had gotten those numbers against LeBron, that he would have got it. And when it goes back once again, it's about the setup of the narratives because I know you agree with me when I say this. Curry should have been the MVP in the 2015 finals. But why did they give it to Andre Iguodala? It's because Iguodala, quote unquote, defended LeBron, but people keep
Hmm.
continuing to forget who's getting all the attention that Iguodala gets the shots that he gets. It's Steph Curry. So
Yep.
that's what they don't want to understand. And am I saying that Curry's the best player in the game? No. Am I saying he's better than Kevin Durant as a better overall player? No. But what I'm telling you is
No.
that
Yeah.
Steph Curry gets so much attention. And I said that when he comes back from injury, what I really would like him to do is take more mid-range shots, and I really would
He's.
love for him to dribble the ball a little more low so he doesn't turn the ball over. Because I feel like when he is in a more face-up position, when he's dribbling the ball against his opponent, that allows the double team to come better. And I said if he keeps the ball low and he keeps his dribble tight, he'll be able to he'll be much harder to guard. That's why I said that John Stockton, even though he doesn't have Steph Curry's handles, one reason that John Stockton was so hard to double team, and it was hard for people to steal the ball from John, was that he always dribbled low,
Hmm.
and anytime he had a defender who was guarding him, John Stockton would always turn his back to him and always would dribble the ball to keep it away from the defender. And I said that that's what to me, I feel like Curry can take those cues from John Stockton, and that would actually make him even more effective. And the only time that John Stockton would turn the ball over is if you put big guards on him and you force him to pass in the air.
Hmm.
When he was on the ground, it was very difficult to get him to turn the ball over because he would keep the ball so low. So let's just keep going into the comments, and then we're gonna close out the show. It's been a pretty good stream, and shout out to Dub Banks for being a guest.
Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate you having me. Salute.
No doubt, no doubt. Um, yeah, that's right. He played with a broke hand. It's the truth. Let me send that link, no doubt. And once you send that link, let me know. Uh, Kenny Smith can sell it all, but he needs to get it. Yeah, he needs to get his as a coach. He should be a coach. He shake hands with his sons after the games. Yeah, he is a liar. I remember watching game one when he pouted on the bench and saying to my father, like, I'm like, he does realize they're gonna go to overtime, right? He wasn't even in the huddle. And that's what I'm saying. He felt like the game was lost after that J.R. Smith blunder, but I'm like, the game was tied and you have 5 minutes to play. Okay, even if the calls were bad all night, they still had 5 minutes to play, and the game was tied. And that told me right there. He after those half-hearted shots he took, I'm like, oh, this guy ain't a leader. he ain't no leader.
Mm-mm.
Talking about he's for my teammates and I get my teammate. Yeah, yeah. But you have this losing mentality, like you're already lost. Come on, dog. No. Yeah, game three really hurt Curry's chances to get that finals MVP. He played 3 better games than KD, and KD in that game three only scored. Yeah, that was a thing because KD had 43 that night.
Yeah.
Like Doug Banks was saying, his 7 points were very impactful in the fourth quarter because they gave him the confidence to win. But people are not going to talk about that. They're just going to talk about the poor game three he had, and that he lost his chance of winning the finals MVP. And actually, if you see
Yep.
Curry at the end of that game, he was on Iguodala's shoulders and he was crying.
I saw that. Yep.
Because that
I
told me
saw
that
that.
he knew that he lost his chances at a Finals MVP, um, and that the narrative was always going to be. That's why Max Kellerman attacks him all the time. Because right now you could make the case if Curry doesn't have that bad game three, and they don't do that stupid media stuff, Curry would have 2 Finals MVPs right now.
They had two of them. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And we're talking about a point
That's why I.
guard. We're talking about a point
Okay.
guard here.
Okay.
Other than Magic Johnson, he would be the only other point guard to have multiple Finals MVPs with multiple regular season MVP. He'd be looked at very differently, and he's still playing.
Mm-hmm.
Still playing. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So my man Doug Banks, man, any last words before we close out the show, man?
Um, appreciate you having me on the stream. It's always good, connecting with you, man. Good brother. Make sure y'all subscribe to Lewis's channel. Subscribe to my channel, Duck Banks. I got some music I plan to be dropping. I've been contemplating about for a while. I do music. I do Christian rap. You know what I'm saying? So I rap about the Lord, rap about my faith, and I rap about life. So if you're into that, what I'm saying, it's definitely a channel you want to subscribe to. And I'll be in and out of the stream, showing support, to Lewis and what he brings to the table, man. Good dude, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, once again, appreciate you having me. It was a good stream tonight. Was able to cover a lot of topics, and it's always fun linking up, man. So look.
I appreciate you, man. And like I said, man, and even on this channel, man, even though I originally start with a topic, guys, like I could always, I'm flexible enough to leave it open and not just stick on one topic, because sometimes unless if the topic is really interesting, like that one topic, it can get really stale, talking about it. So I like to open things up after we done. So, we started with the '04 Pistons and '08 Celtics, and look where we ended up, man. Talking about, finals and Warriors and teams and All-Star Weekend. So that's what we like to do right here on the Lewis Sports Network, man. But once again, man, I appreciate my special guest, Doug Banks. And guys, man, if you ever want to, like I said, come and jump on the panel and talk basketball with me, like I said, like Doug Banks, man, make sure, again, not only to smash the like button, not only to subscribe, not only to share the streams, but anytime you guys want to jump on in and talk, man, again, I'll always put the link up so you guys, and Doug was great enough to do it, man, and I appreciate him. Doug is a real one. Make sure y'all go subscribe to his channel, man. I tell you, this guy's on the come up. This guy knows his basketball, man. Very deep in detail, man. Articulate brother, man. So again, I'm always appreciate you. Appreciate all my subs out there, man, and appreciate the new subs. Hopefully that will subscribe, man. And if you guys haven't, make sure y'all subscribe. And I'm going to close it out like I always do, man, like on the Lewis Sports Network. And you already know how we're going to do. I got to change my channel art, by the way, but I'll do that in a minute. But anyway, from Doug Banks to the Lewis Sports Network, LSN gang, you know how we do right here, man. That's your times, man. Live, laugh, love. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful night, and we will be back with NBA basketball tomorrow. I just got to figure out what game to do. Maybe might do Nets Sixers or Rockets Warriors. Who knows? But all right, appreciate y'all, man. Have a wonderful night. Doug, have a wonderful night, man, and I will see you on the next one.
Take care, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Alrighty.